Everybody, and welcome to a Hex Token channel. Your host Superman in the house, our second live stream of the day, and of course a very, very special one. We're going to be covering PulseChain testnet v3 guide, of course, for beginners. So we're going to be doing an overview of this and get a bit of a deep dive for beginners. I hope you guys enjoy this. We're going to be covering hopefully all the main topics, and that includes the sacrifice. Of course, if you manage to have sacrifice for PulseChain or PulseX, we're going to have a quick look at all those details. We're going to look at the blockchain explorers. We've got two, of course. Block Scout, which is our good old favorite from all our previous testnets that we've had. And we're also going to look at the Beacon Explorer as well, which is a new one. They're based off the Aragon client. So we're going to look at that. We're also going to have a look at the PulseChain Faucet. So if you don't have any Pulse, then from the sacrifices, then you can, there is a Faucet, you can get a little bit of Pulse there to do transactions. We're going to look at that too. And then we're going to get into a briefly overview of staking. We're going to go through an overview of that rather than a deep dive, because you have to set up a lot of stuff for that. So we're just going to do an overview of that one. And then we're going to jump into PulseX and look at the super decks on PulseChain. And of course, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to play around with some of the key features there, trading, liquidity, farming, and things like that. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with the bridge. Now, the bridge is not yet open. So we're waiting for that to run, and that's also going to have a flowback on the PulseX, the DEX, with US dollar values as well. So we're waiting for that to happen. We might be lucky. It might happen during this live stream. We will see. If not, I will be covering it when it is open, either later, probably tomorrow in that case. So stay tuned. We're going to cover it all. So hopefully it's helpful to you. Let's get into the house and see who is here. We've got quite a few people already. We've got Kiwi Crypto in New Zealand. Good to see you as well. Let me know if the audio is okay as we proceed as well. We've got Francis. Hello, hello. Good to see you, Francis. And, of course, Brendan's in the house there. Can we get a Hex token channel pump? Now, I don't think we're talking about Hex today there, Brendan. Brendan loves the Hex price, so we'll get onto that another time. We've got Church of the Universal Oneness. Peace and prosperity, everybody. I have had the best energy since V3 launch. I hope the same for all of you. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, I mean, it's been a great, exciting thing. We're all pretty hyped as well. I just pumped the like button. Nice one. I appreciate that. Smash that like button as well. Who else is here? We got Detached Souls in house there. Yo, yo, yo. Good to see you. And Hex Glenn as well with the thumbs up. Nice. We've got Harry Williams in house there. Yo, yo, yo. Good to see you, Harry. And HH is confirming the audio is good. Fantastic. Now, I've got a bit of a glow on. That glow is the PulseChain testnet V3 glow. So it's on. The game is on. I don't get any stats in PulseX info page. Is it something I done? Testnet V2B has the stats. Yeah. So that's to do with what I said at the end there. We're waiting for the official bridge to launch, Pulse Ramp. And then, of course, that will allow bridged in stable coins. And, of course, that will flow through PulseX. That is the way it's going to be there. So we'll talk more about that later on. And you'll see some numbers pop up probably either later today or tomorrow is probably what will happen there. J-Pond in the house there. Hello, hello. Good to see you, J-Pond. And, of course, Brendan says, don't we all like the Hex price? No, we like talking about PulseChain testnet V3, Brendan. That's what our topic is today. We got Can't Wait for the Launch. Harry Williams, can't wait for the launch. Absolutely. Super excited. We got, what else there? We got KD in the house there. Hi, all. Good to see you, KD. And, of course, Brazil's got 5 for 5. I'm not sure what that means, Briz. Let me know what that means. And of course, Kristen in there as well. I can't hear nothing, says Kristen. I don't know. Everyone said the audio is okay. We're going to get into it. So, okay, welcome everybody. I hope you guys enjoy yourself. And of course, let's get into it. Man. All right, let's go. All right, so here we are, folks. We're on pulsechain.com. Now, the links are all in the video description. You can copy and paste them all. You can double check them with Richard Hart's Twitter if you like as well. He is the official account plus the official website, so you can go check those. So that's kind of cool. Let's go here. We've got obviously PulseChain.com. Once again, all the links in the video description. So here we are. This has been updated, of course. We talked about this earlier today. PulseChain Testnet v3 is here. It is alive, which is pretty cool. Please use it and prepare for mainnet launch. That's very important. That's why influencers like myself and other people around the place are doing these tutorials to get people more familiar. So definitely get in there. We've got a poll on at the moment asking if you've done that yet. Have you played in any way on the PulseChain Testnet v3? And of course they got yes or no. So we'll check that out later on. We've got 26 votes already. Get in there on that one. Now there's a warning here, a very important warning. This is the final testnet apparently, so they're pretty confident that they'll be able to go to mainnet after this. They may have to make some adjustments, but they're pretty confident they're probably going to be minor based on these sort of final testnet confirmations here. Mainnet may launch at any time now, so that's a big warning there. So let's see how we go. It's going to be fun to see that. All right, check out the brand new Explorer. So this is on the homepage. Check out the brand new Block Explorer. We're going to be looking at those, of course. Claim free testnet pulse at the Faucet. We're going to be looking at that too. Stake them. Of course, if you're going to be a validator, you can stake your pulse. If you've sacrificed and you've got 32 million pulse, you'll be able to do that by yourself. If you have on the PulseX, you'll be able to potentially, if you've got the right amount of tokens, you may be able to buy enough pulse on there to be able to stake. Let's see how that goes. And of course, if you in the future when we go to mainnet, you'll probably be able to buy it, and you'll probably, if you do have enough pulse, you'll be able to delegate your pulse. Even if you haven't got 32 million, there'll probably be different type of opportunities to stake your pulse that you do have by delegating it to some other service, maybe as liquid staking or pooled staking, centralized exchange staking, staking as a service. Those sort of options will probably pop up after PulseChain launches. Try to bridge over assets from the Ethereum Rinkeby testnet. So it does look like the Rinkeby testnet is the one to go for. That is the bridge, and that is what we're waiting for. And that should flow through with the stable coins into PulseX, and we get some US dollar prices on PulseX, which is currently blank. We'll check that out. Hopefully, if we're lucky, it might happen during the live stream. We just never know. And then, of course, try trading your PRC20s. These are the copies of everything that got copied over onto the blockchain for PulseChain from Ethereum. And we're going to talk about that on PulseX. So it's pretty cool. Now, there are the details on the actual home site there to connect to Testnet v3. Open Metamask and click the network drop-down. Select custom network, now enter following the information. And, of course, we've got PulseChain Testnet v3. That is the network name. We've got the new RPC URL. There it is there, rpc.v3.testnet.pulsechain.com. And we've got the chain ID is 942 for PulseChain Testnet v3. And we've got the currency symbol there, test stands for T Pulse or test pulse there. And of course, we've got the Block Explorer there as well, scan.v3.testnet.pulsechain.com. And you must manually add your ERC20s for them to show. So basically your PRC20s, you need to add those in with the contract. They'll be the same contract, of course. You just need to add those, import those into your wallet. So there's some of the highlights there on the official PulseChain. Now, if you're a developer, of course, there's extra information there. Start with reading the docs. You can do that. We're not going to get into that part on this live stream. This is just for beginners. But if you're a developer, there's docs there for that. There's also some graph endpoints here for blocks, PulseX, and bears. You guys don't need to know that unless you're being a developer. You can become a validator, of course. That is a shared thing, of course, becoming a validator. Of course, there is also a beacon chain, a checkpoint sync provider. You can check that out too. We already looked at that earlier today. And of course, the official RPC endpoint there as well. And of course, the WebSocket endpoint. That's all for developers. So we're going to miss all that. We're not going to be covering that. Now, the rest of PulseChain.com is all the old stuff that we're used to, covering all the awesome fundamentals of PulseChain. So this is the element there. So the first topic, let me go to the first topic. So that is the first site is PulseChain.com. You can see it's already got a lot of the links on there. The second site, of course, which is also in the video description, is PulseX.com. And of course, you can see PulseX.com looks pretty similar. We've got Testnet v3, PulseX is here. Now, this is the DEX, right? So PulseChain is the first, is a fork of Ethereum proof of stake. This is the first fork out in the market, so it's pretty cool. And of course, PulseX is the fork of a PancakeSwap or Uniswap V2 is going to be basically with a V2, Uniswap V2 technology. Pretty cool with the PancakeSwap front end modified, of course, branded. So it's kind of cool at the moment. So testnet v3 PulseX is here. Mainnet PulseX could launch at any time. So another confirmation that mainnet could be sooner than later. So it's really, really exciting to see this sort of bold statements. Mainnet PulseX could launch at any time. There won't be another warning. That's a pretty serious warning. There won't be another warning. You can try out testnet v3 PulseX right now, and of course we will be doing that. So pretty cool. Now there's some links here, of course, to PulseChain, the PulseX Telegram chat, and PulseX Twitter. You can access those as well. So those are the two official sites. So that's your introduction to PulseChain and PulseX. PulseChain is a fork of Ethereum. PulseX will be a version of Uniswap v2 to kick it off. It will be upgraded later, v3 no doubt, and of course that will be open license on the 1st of April. So that's coming up too. Pretty exciting. Now, obviously, those are the two official sites. You can find them in the video description link. So grab that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. All right. The next thing we're going to have a look is how to add the blockchain, PulseChain blockchain to your wallet. So we're going to get into that. Now, I've got a wallet here. We're going to change it. Actually, I'm going to play another one here. We're going to probably go to, let's go to Play Wallet 2. Yeah, let's go to Play Wallet 2. And we're going to have a look at this. So this one here is, let me see where we go here. There are 3 ways to add the PulseChain blockchain to your wallet. There are 3 ways. The easiest, of course, is to open up the Block Explorer. So we're going to do that first and check it out. So let me just make sure I'm in the right place here. So this, no, wrong place. No, wrong one. Where's the PulseChain? We're going to find it. Oh, not there either. Where did I put that? I've definitely put it somewhere. Actually, I haven't even opened it. How about that? We're going to open it up here. Bam. And have a look at that. This is the, no, that's the wrong one too. It's not the one we're after either. So we're going to open up, thought I had all this in the right spots, but apparently not. Let's go to the testnet. We got the first blockchain there. So we're going to put that over there. We're going to take the other Block Explorer there. So there we are. Must have closed them down. So this is the Block Scout Block Explorer. This is the main one that we've been using in past proof of work versions of the testnet, and now we're dealing with the proof of stake version, and this is the Block Explorer here. You can see a testnet v3 at the top there. Now the first way to add this to your wallet, so you've got the network, say you're on Ethereum, you want to add the network. There are 3 different ways, and the first way is by just opening up the Block Explorer, which is this one here, and of course this link is in the video description. Scroll right down to the bottom. Right to the bottom, and you will see there's a little Metamask icon here, and you just click Add Testnet v3. So all you have to do is click on that, and that's going to pull up a little notice on your right hand side, just like you normally do when you do a transfer or a swap on the Uniswap or on your with your Metamask wallet, and it will pick up. It will show you all the details. It will have the network name, network URL. It will have the chain ID and, of course, the currency symbol as well. So those will all show up, and then, of course, you just have to click Approve, and that will add the network. So that's the one way to do it, just by clicking this button and clicking Approve. That's it. And then, of course, you go to your wallet, and you'll find that your network for v3 will be at the bottom here, and you can add that in. Now, we're going to do it the second way. The second way you can do that is by the slow way, which means on PulseChain, you can take all the network details of the PulseChain testnet v3, and we're going to do that manually. So we're going to go here to the wallet, and then we're going to go settings, and then we're going to go to networks, and then we're going to go to add network there. So that's another way of doing it. And of course, we're going to go down here, add a network manually. We're going to go, yep. And then what we can do is we can copy all these details manually into the wallet. So we can do that manually if you want, and we can copy all those in. We can do that just easy, just copy and paste them. And of course, easy to do. And wham. And then of course, you can just copy all that stuff in the Block Explorer as well. This is the one that we're on, remember? So you can do that and go to your wallet and paste that in, and then just click Save. So you can click Save. Easy to do, and voila, there it is. PulseChain testnet v3 is added to your wallet, just like that. So that's the second option. That's the longest one. That's the manual one, and of course you've probably done that before. Pretty cool. It's just showing underneath the Ethereum mainnet there, so you can easily see that. Now, if you want to delete it, of course, you can go to settings. I don't know why you'd want to, but if you want to do that, you can go to settings. You can first of all swap back to say Ethereum, and then you can go down to your PulseChain Testnet v3, and of course it will give you the option to delete the network. And we're going to do that. We're going to delete that because we're going to do the third way of adding it to your network there. So we're going to do that. And wow, there we are. So it will have been gone now. We won't have the testnet v3 there at all. So we've used two methods. One is really easy. We just add it via the block explorer, which is the block scout block explorer. And we just click add and then approve it, and it will add it to networks, which is easy. Number two, we put in the details manually. And number three, we go to actually PulseX, which is the front end. And of course, we can connect our wallet and go through there. Metamask, for example, it's going to pop up a ticket again. It will have the ticket, and it will say allow this network to add, allow the site to add to the network. We're going to do that. It's going to have all the same details with the pulse chain, with the network name, the URL, chain ID, and currency. You can't see that, of course, on your screen, but it pops it up on my screen. We're going to click approve to that. And of course, that's going to add it. So that's pretty neat. So we've got that added now, and we can now go to here. You can see that PulseChain Testnet v3 was successfully added in the bottom right corner there. You can see that. And of course, we can just scroll down and then select it manually as well. We actually probably have to refresh the browser. Let's do that. And we can go and select PulseChain v3 down here somewhere. PulseChain Testnet, actually not showing there on this one actually. Let me just refresh that. Make sure I'm on the right network. Boom, let's do that. PulseChain Test. Okay, so it's got a different name. So the name's slightly different. If you do the PulseX way, it will have a slightly different name. It will just call it PulseChain Testnet. So rather than those first two ways will show up as PulseChain Testnet v3, this will just show up as PulseChain Testnet, and that will be your third version there. So that's pretty cool. Now, if you want to confirm that, of course, you can also do that by switching that around to have a look at the details under your networks session there as well. So it's kind of cool. Switch networks, so look there. Try again. All right, so cool. That is the network, and of course you can go check that settings by going networks, and you can find all the details. So 942 PulseChain Test Network. So it's got a slightly different name, but that's the third way of adding that in. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that is the way we do that. So that's we've looked at the official sites. We've looked at how to add the blockchain to your wallet, your Metamask wallet in this case, and that's pretty easy. So the next thing, of course, is the block explorers. We've got two block explorers. So this is our third topic, the block explorers. We're going to look at that. We've got two. We've got Block Scout, and we've also got the Beacon Explorer. So those are the two explorers. What are explorers? Basically, they're like windows or ways of querying the blockchain. So blocks, transactions, your address and your balances, your coins, your tokens. These are what it allows you to do with the Block Explorer, which is pretty cool. So it's like a window into the block exchange, blockchain, I should say, for PulseChain Testnet v3, which is pretty neat. So hopefully we're all up to date on that. Let me just get into some of the comments before we get into this third topic about the Block Explorer, because we've got a few topics to look at on this. Let's have a look into here. Top Chick's in the house. Hi, Top Chick. Good to see you. Help. Who do I contact if your sacred address not appearing on the PulseX leaderboard? I checked on the V3 PulseChain Testnet. Zero balance. Help, help, help. You might want to get into our Discord on that one, Top Chick, or contact the PulseChain team on the PulseChain Sacrifice is probably what I would do there. What about a community? What a community to be in a while doom and gloom happens and other groups go Hexkins. Absolutely. That's what we try to be, a very positive community. What else there? Food TV in the house there. How do you unstake LP on farming? Yeah, we'll come up to that later on, Food TV. There is a problem with that at the moment. It does have an enable button, but we'll see how far we can get with that Food TV later on. So definitely is an issue there. Christian says, I see people are passing their bedtime. Hey, Christian, it's a little off topic, so I might jump. If something's not on topic, I'm going to just jump through the comments. So let's just jump through that. All right, let's get through there. Seeing if there's any relevant comments to the topic that we're talking about. So we're good. Bree162 says, is the bridge up and running? Wasn't working yesterday. No, it wasn't working before the live stream. We'll see whether we're in luck during this live stream if that's going to be working. And obviously that's got a flow back in terms of US dollars into the PulseX as well. That is our Discord. Thanks, Brian, for posting that. So if you want to join, we've got lots of people like Brian as one of our community leaders who will help you there. And we've got great mods and help you as well. Let's jump through here. I have no idea what Kristen's talking about, but we're going to move through there. And definitely like the Energizer Bunny, says Kristen. Indeed, there, Christian. All right, Right, there we are, folks. Try and keep it on top in the chat there. I don't know what you guys talking about. Keep that on the Discord stuff. All right, so let's go. We've got the block exploit. This is the Block Scout Explorer. And of course, you can see the URL scan.v3 testnet.pulsechain.com. Now, obviously, this is on the official website, plus it's in the video description if you want the links. And we also have all these links on our Discord under useful links as well. So there's the 3 different ways of getting the information. Plus, of course, Richard Hart. So that makes 4, doesn't it? All right, so PulseChain Testnet v3, you've got lots of different things up here. Here is the information. You got at the top here, you got the menu, you got blocks, you got transactions, all that sort of stuff, and the different type of statuses of those. You got the tokens here, you got all tokens, and you got just the pulse. This is the test pulse or the pulse coin. Everything else is a token. So we've got the pulse coin here. That is what's is used to pay for transactions on the Pulse chain. Instead of using ETH on Ethereum, you'd use Pulse on Pulse chain. And in this case, it's called T-Pulse because T stands for test and PLS for Pulse, which is the main coin. So that's pretty cool. That is there as well. We're going to come back to that. We've also got the APIs here. We've got GraphQL, so you'll be able to query the database if you know GraphQL. We've got RPCs here. This is linking your computer into the server and, of course, so forth. I think they've got a few old names there like ETH on there. I believe that's supposed to be a Pulse, a PRC. So they do have a few naming conventions to update in my view. The apps there as well. They've got all the apps that you might want to get to. Many of them we're going to talk about during this live stream. We've got Testnet v3 Beacon Explorer. That's the second Explorer that we're going to look at. We've got the PulseX DEX that you can do trading on. You've got the Pulse Ramp Bridge, which we're hoping is going to be working either during this live stream or by tomorrow. And of course, we've got the sacrifice check if you want to check the sacrifices there. So top check if you want to check out that, maybe go through with your query through the sacrifice check. It might be one of your options. And of course, there's also Telegram as well there, top check if you want to go through the official Telegram group for PulseChain. They might be able to follow that too. But sacrifice check is probably where I start because they do have a direct contact lead through there. Testnet v3 Faucet as well is also there. We're going to be going through that as well. So cool. We're up to date on that one. Anyway, so you can see here, that's all the details. And then, of course, we've got Testnet v3. This is the proof of stake fork there. And, of course, Testnet v2b is the old proof of work one, which we've just moved on from. Very excitingly so. So very cool. Now, you can see the chain. It's got the number of transactions processing through daily. And look at the jump up today. Fantastic. So in our live stream earlier today, we had 5,600 transactions. But today, we got a massive 75,865 transactions on the 23rd. So people are using the testnet. Isn't that awesome? I think that's pretty neat and exciting. And so maybe some of you guys will be doing that too after this live stream. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. So really massive 75,865. That's really cool. That's just been updated, of course. Very, very cool there. And you can see the day transactions down there and the gas tracker as well. So it shows you the slow, average, and fast gas tracker there. So very nice. The 1.94 beats or a gwei. So very cool. We've got the average block time there, 10.3 seconds. So pretty fast. And of course, ideally to run at 10 seconds. It's at 10.3 there compared to Ethereum, which is running at 12 seconds. We've got currently the transactions, the blocks, and the wallet addresses there at the moment. But that said, the chain, looks like it's still indexing. We are currently working on indexing pre-PulseChain fork data, which means the token balances and other pre-PulseChain information may not reflect accurate values. So that may be one of the reasons of potentially affecting people's balances until the task is completed. However, it's worth noting that this pre-PulseChain data can still be accessed through Ethereum Explorers. So obviously you can use Ethereum Explorers to look at that data because that's just, PulseChain is a copy of Ethereum. We are currently adding additional archive nodes. Please note that our indexes may experience some temporary delay until archive nodes are fully optimized. So the Explorer itself is not fully operational at this stage in terms of data access, in terms of your querying it. So there we are. We've got the latest blocks down here as well. This is the last block that we've had 30 minutes ago. I need to refresh the browser because it's a little bit stuck there. Yeah, 6 minutes ago. So there's the browser there. So having a few little issues. And of course, that is the last transaction there. So we got some token minting. So we obviously got people minting Zen in this case. So Zen is the last one here. Someone's been minting on the chain. Now remember, Jack Levin announced just a few hours ago that they were operating their Zen NFTs on the PulseChain testnet, and now we see they're a big gas user on Ethereum, and of course we see them operating here on the PulseChain testnet. So there we are, Zen Torrent that is operating as well. So wouldn't be surprised. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have so many people using the testnet for the PulseChain for so many things. So remember, the PulseChain is a blockchain, and it's really open for everybody to come and play on. And of course, the more people that play, the more transactions and the more fee burning is going to happen. Basically, it's going to be pretty neat there with the EIP 1559 fee burn. And of course, we're also on top of that going to have a 25% less block reward, relatively speaking, to Ethereum. So we've got lower inflation. And of course, the higher the GWAI becomes, the quicker we get to that net deflationary period as well. So it's going to be pretty good. So we've also got other transactions on there, incentive tokens, people claiming the incentive tokens from the looks of it. That's pretty neat. We've got PLP there. So the PLP is a liquidity provision there. So we've got lots of different things happening on the chain. So it's really, really nice. People are playing around with it. And as we say, in the first little period there, 75,800 transactions, and that's likely to probably go up, I would suggest, over the next few days. So very exciting. All right, so that is cool. That is the first block explorer. Now down at the bottom, there is different issues. You got submit an issue for PulseChain. So if you have an issue, you can submit an issue there. You can contribute. There's also the Telegram. So if you do have some issues, maybe that's a good way there. Maybe Top Trick, that might be another alternative to submit an issue, although that's probably more around the Explorer. We've got the old test network there, V2B, the old proof of work. And we've got other explorers there, the testnet V3 Beacon Explorer, and we're going to look at that too. That's our second explorer. We didn't have that before, but now we've got a proof of stake fork. We now have that second explorer, so that is pretty cool. So let's have a quick look at the second explorer. We're going to come back to this one because we're going to have a look at the sacrifice set, which is our fourth topic. We're going to have a look at the sacrifice set, so we'll come back to that. No, that's our fifth topic, actually. That's our fifth topic. We'll get to that. So this is the Beacon Explorer. This is new, and of course, this is why they want to get that Aragon client, execution client up so much. And of course, there is an equivalent version of this, beaconchar.in for Ethereum. So if you look at Ethereum, you'll see an equivalent one here. Now, this has got some new language, of course, because we're talking proof of stake, and there's more language to learn. And of course, we talk about this language of the blockchain. We have what we call epochs. So for every epoch, there are 32 slots. We have slots. Slots will typically have a block in it. That is a block on the blockchain. And inside blocks, of course, have transactions in them. And all sorts of different types of transactions, right? Transfers, swaps, smart contracts, all sorts of stuff. So it's pretty important there. Then we have the blocks, of course. So pretty much most slots, if not all of them, most of them in any case, will have a block. And of course, that is how it works. So one epoch will have 32 slots, and of course 32 slots at 10-second block times will take about 5 minutes and 33 seconds to run. And for every slot, we need 128 validators. One validator will be the proposer. That will be the one that confirms the blockchain. And then we'll have 127 others that will be the attestation officers, as you might want to call it. They confirm that block. And of course, every new slot that happens requires another 128 validators, in kind of like a committee, and that's how they operate. So pretty exciting. So to kick it off, to have one epoch of 32 blocks times 128 validators, you need a minimum probably of about 4,086, I think it is, or 96, 4,096 validators to kick it off. And it looks like the team started off with 4,097, so that's kind of where we are, and we're already up to 4,195, which means that we've almost had another 100 validators come on, probably from a lot of people around the world, all keen to get in. Maybe they know how to do it very easily. So, they're already doing it on Ethereum, for example. They've got their execution clients running, maybe GoGeth or Aragon, and of course either their consensus clients as well, Prism and Lighthouse, their options there. So pretty cool. There are 4 clients on the chain. So that's pretty exciting. We can see that the average balance is 32 million Pulse That's how much you need to be a solo staker, so that's what they're doing. Solo staking is really the only option available at this stage, and like I say, in the future there's likely to be delegation, which means that you don't need to know how to set up a validator. You'll be able to do it through third-party services in some form or another. So there we are. So pretty cool. We can also see at the top here, we've got this progress bar. As every epoch goes through and every slot, it gets filled up. So this is an epoch bar as the 32 slots go through over 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes, this should get filled up, and you'll see it progress there as well. So it's pretty cool. Let's just refresh that, and nice. So that is pretty much it. It says the beacon chain requires 66% network participation for it to reach finality as well. That's important there. So nice. We can see on the chart here that we've got the pulse on the left-hand side, and we've got the validators on the right-hand side. We can see that we've gone from 4,097 all the way up to 4,195. We expect that to grow, thousands to be added onto that. Obviously, some of the very large pulse chain sacrifices, some of the big whales, maybe Overwatch, Rack and Rochelle, will possibly, they might end up doing hundreds of thousands, or somebody else will. It's depending on how much pulse they've got, either got it through sacrifice, or they're going to buy it off the market and play that way. So it's pretty cool. Now, this is obviously the base case for staking your pulse is as a validator. Obviously, there'll be third-party opportunities, maybe liquid loans. You can put your pulse on liquid loans, and maybe there'll be some competing APY on that as well. There's going to be other options as well. So that's kind of the base one, though. Being a validator obviously helps with the network and making the proof of stake network run really, really well. So that's kind of cool. What else is to say about that? There's lots of other stuff at the top here of the menu. There's the PulseX. You can get the PulseX from here. You can get to the official bridge here, Pulse Ramp from here. You can also go to the sacrifice checker and check your sacrifice from here as well. So there's a few other things. You can also, there's a search bar. You can check the public key, block number, block hash, and stuff like that. So there's kind of cool things there. There's also other menus here. You can have a closer look at the epochs and the slots. Remember, there's 32 slots for each epoch. And it's about, one epoch's about 5 minutes and 33 seconds because the block time is 10 seconds compared to Ethereum, which is at about 12 seconds. So it's much faster. The epochs go through much faster. And that potentially is going to have a higher burn rate too, relatively speaking. So that's kind of neat. We also have the validators. If you want to look into more details about the validators, particularly if you are one, you can look at the overview. You can look at slashings, validator leaderboard, deposits, and all sorts of stuff. And you can find out what they're earning, how much are they earning, who's earning the most, all that sort of stuff with their validating. So it's pretty cool like that. There's also a dashboard, and you can check out the dashboard when it fills up with data. This one hasn't got a lot of data in it yet, but I'm sure that might populate later on. Then there's a whole ton of stats, charts. Charts are pretty cool. You can see how the performance of the network's going. You got the blocks here, you got the validators, so that's kind of neat. You got lots of data work around that. Participation rate, balance distribution. It's just started, as you can see. Income distribution as well, so it's pretty nice, and lots of other details there, deposits and so forth. I love this one here, the slot visualization. You can actually click on the individual chart and it will bring up the slot visualization as well. It's pretty cool, and you can check out a lot of details on that, which I think is pretty neat. The other things that has, of course, is income history, profit calculator, block viz, relays, and of course, importantly, the EIP 159 burn. This is the base burn in the blocks. And very excited to see that operate as well. I'm looking for that to populate. So there's a few things to keep working towards from the looks of it. We've also got a unit converter and a gas now, and so we can see a gas tracker basically showing what the gas is: rapid, fast, standard, or slow. So it's pretty cool to see that, and we can see that standard is 1 and fast is 2-way. And of course we've got a little timestamp there. The last couple of days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we've got the time of the day on the left-hand side. And then it populates with the gas, the average grey at that time. So it's pretty neat. We've got a little gas tracker there also. So there's lots of little tools there you can look at in addition, but those burns and the gas now and some of the charts and probably the ones that you're going to look at the most. If you're a validator, of course, you can look at the profit calculator and you can play around with some of the parameters and look at what you might be able to earn too. Obviously, at the moment, the grey at the moment is around 2. Very, very exciting. So those are some of the headline numbers. That is the block scout, as you can see. That is the beacon, and of course, that looks at the chain from a different point of view. So very, very cool. This is kind of more user-friendly for the average person. If you're into validating, this is probably pretty important for you in terms of the beacon there. Now, that is our fourth topic. We're going to get into our fifth topic, which is the sacrifice set. So if you sacrifice for PulseChain between the 15th of July up to about the of 2021 to about the 4th of April, 4th of April 2022, and of course probably other sacrifice since then has been honored. Or you've done PulseX from the 29th of December 2022 through to the 25th of February 2021, 29th of December 2021 through to the 25th officially 2022, and then of course the 4th of April, just like PulseChain for the mercy period. Then you would be able to qualify, plus probably they've honored since then as well, because people have been sacrificing even after the official period, so it's pretty crazy. So that is some of the cool stuff. That's our fourth topic. I will leave a timestamp, of course, as you guys know. I'll do my best to do that. We're going to get to the sacrifice. Before we do that, though, let's see if we've got any more comments in the chat before we proceed on to the sacrifice review. We're going to review the sacrifice, how that's played out. So it should be fun. Anyone likes talking about the sacrifice. Let us see where we're up to. I have no idea what some of these comments are about, but we will move through. Let me just do some of that. You guys, some of your topics are way ahead of where we are, so I'm going to skip through those. Does the PulseChain Explorer have a night mode? I don't think it does, actually. I don't actually see that on here. It would be cool to have a night mode, so maybe that's some feedback to have a night mode. I don't see it here at the moment. Anyone else can show me that, but I don't see a night mode on it. I love that. That's a good question there, Stephen. What else? That's it. That's the only question. Okay, cool. Easy. All right, so let's get on to the sacrifice. So as you guys know, the sacrifice period I just talked about, and we had two sites, independent sites, apart from the official team, that gave us the PulseChain sacrifice. This is the PulseChain one here. There's approximate dollars that were sacrificed. And of course, we had a leaderboard at the top here. Overwatch Rack and Shell at the top. Hex Godwale was in there as well. 39C5 at number 2. And of course, we got lots of famous people in here as well. We got DO1 in there. I thought DO1 was at the top here on this wallet, but I can't see that. Maybe it's the sub wallet that we had. But that is the leaderboard there. We also got the PulseX leaderboard as well. That was a bigger sacrifice, of course. And of course, we expect to have approximately around about 17 trillion in the public sacrifice or so. So give or take a couple hundred billion. That's what we expect in the sacrifice there. And of course, for PulseChain, we're probably around 12.5 to 13 trillion in the public testnet. Public sacrifice for the public, and the rest of it, of course, to the sacrifice accounts. So which is essentially controlled there. We'll see how that all goes. Anyway, we got the top sacrifices here as well. Overwatch Rack and Michelle, the Hex Godwale, all that sort of stuff as well. Here's DO1. This is the famous Hex dumper. It dumped us down around about, was it 2 cents or something? 3 cents, 2 cents down that zone. That's the famous dumper there. It's number 6 there. So if you think there's not going to be some sense of redistribution, there's a good chance that big holders like this will possibly sell down. And of course, there'll be a redistribution at that time. So hopefully the lower the price, the better, right? So that's we look forward to that. We'll see what happens there with DO1. There's always opportunities. Just remember that there's going to be so many more buyers, but remember, all you need is one of these top sellers to sell down, and of course that they'll make a lot of money just with a couple extra turns. So just remember that it's not all a retail play looking for 100x. Sometimes the big whales are looking for 3x. Something like that. So just remember that. It has been about 1 3/4 years, so just goes to show there's always opportunities in the game. So expect some volatility at some stage depending on what they do. We will see. Some of them may wait for all the leverage play, which is 4 to 6 weeks later after PulseChain launches, with the big DeFi platforms launching. We will see what they do. It's going to be interesting. All right, so cool. That is a little side note as well. So those are the two sacrifices. And of course, you can find your address on here for your sacrifice. So we had Top Chicken there earlier talking about that. So let's take one of these wallets here. And we're going to go to, we were on PulseChain here. So let's go into that. We're going to go into the Hex Godwales 139. Let's go to that and pull up this account. And we're going to just copy this in and have a look. So what was the estimation here for this? Estimated points was 169 billion PulseChain sacrifice points. Obviously also had PulseX, and we can see that here as well. So it estimated for PulseX it was going to have a 703 billion points on PulseX. So let's see how close that is. Obviously these are estimations on here based on the sacrifice rates. Let's have a quick look. This could be you, for example. This is just, we're just using the second biggest whale, Hex whale, and we're going to have a quick look in here. So let's paste that address in and click there. That's come up. So cool. Let's have a look at that address. Oh, bam. All right, so we can see that it's saying that it's going to have 509 billion Pulse tokens. So there we are. Fortunately for you guys, these are some of the more long-term holders, these large holders, but they're not all like this. Probably the top couple are long-term holders, but like I say, there are wallets like number 6, number 8, DO1 that may not be that like that, right? So that's where you get your redistribution. That's where you get your volatility from these guys, right? So you have to buy them out of their position. So if they decide to sell some down, that's when it happens. And then you go, oh, look at the price go down. It's possibly because of one of these guys. So you've got to keep that in your mind all the time, that those opportunities do happen. And why? Because of actors like this in the top 10, top 20, top 30, whatever significance there. That being said, we are expecting huge demand to come in. All right, so let us see where we're going. So we're on that one. So let me go to the Block Explorer. So this has come up here. We can also see that they've got other tokens. They've got some Hedron in there. They've got some Hex in there. And they've got their PulseX Sacrifice as well. Look at that. Woohoo! So let's go to, I think we've got different things here on the actual transactions. We've got their transactions. We've got token transfers. These are from ages ago, of course. It hasn't done much operations. We've got 4 days ago there, some actions. We've got some tokens there. This is their tokens. So we've got PulseX. We've got some other stuff here, Hedron, Hex. But we're going to look at the sacrifice set, right? So if we go to PulseX, so this is our Pulse chain. So it says 196 there, obviously give or take. So this is only approximation there. We come in here, we can see actually we can get 509 billion Pulse there as the old number 2 wallet. Now in terms of the PulseX sacrifice, suggesting that they're going to get 703 billion. And of course we look at that and we can see that that number is actually accurate. So that number is accurate. I'm not sure why the Pulse chain one is out, but that one, the PulseX one, is definitely accurate there. That's pretty good. So that one kind of matches pretty nicely. So yep, very cool. Now let's have a look at the top whale, the Rackam Rochelle. Oh, that doesn't have a Pulse chain one on that one. We're going to just copy that one. So that's estimating that they're going to have near 1.2 trillion for the Rackam Rochelle Overwatch one. So let's have a quick look at that. And let's have a paste that in, bam, and see what this has got. So it's indicating there's not any Pulse, which we know there's no sacrifice for this one on that particular address in any case. They're probably using other addresses, but we can go to tokens and we can see their PulseX there, 1.2 billion PulseX. Woohoo! So that's how easy it is. You can find both of those. And of course, you have the contract addresses for that token. So you got the contract address over on here. You can use the asset address there. That will take you to PulseX. This will bring you up to all the tokens there should do. So that's pretty cool as well. Now, what the other way, of course, is you can paste in your address there to check your balances. And of course, you can check that against the sacrifice checker, right? So we talked about that. And you can check it against that. You can find the sacrifice checker on the apps and go to sacrifice checker, and that will bring up the sacrifice checker. And of course, you can connect your wallet and you can put your address in and you can find out your latest sacrifice there. So this one doesn't have a Pulse chain one. It will get one Pulse though, but it does have the PulseX sacrifice 1.2 billion. So there we are. That's if you're the top. That's number 1, folks. Number 1. That's but they're long-term thinkers, so I'm not too worried about that particular account. All right, so that is the way we go. They're looking for long-term value creation. We love that too. All right, so that is that play. And of course, the other way you can do it is go through tokens, right? So that's the way of looking up your sacrifice. You just paste it in there, see if it matches up with the sacrifice checker. So this is the sacrifice checker. It will tell you what tokens you've got and when you sacrificed. See how when it's sacrificed tells you all the details of when it's sacrificed for PulseX. And of course, if it had Pulse chain, it would do the same as well. So it's pretty cool. What else? If you want to have a look at all the tokens are here. So we'll just have, this is sort of a side thought here. You can find USD Tether, USDC, wrapped ETH on here, PulseX, of course. We just talked about that. Now, the cool thing, we looked at individual cases of some of the top whales from the sacrifice for Pulse and PulseX. But we've also got here the total amount of PulseX expected in the snapshot. So this is what they've shown us. It's a bit higher than I expected, but it's not too far away from where I expected it to be. I haven't reconciled. I've got old spreadsheets that I can reconcile it against but this is what it's saying at the moment. 143 trillion is the total amount. About 90% of that will be the sacrifice accounts. Around about 10% of that will be to the sacrifice set. Remember, 143, and we've got an indication of PulseX being around about 17 trillion, give or take a couple hundred billion. And of course, that means it's around about 10% there as well. I actually thought that was a little bit lower, but that's the number that's come in there for this one. So that is kind of it on there. So that's pretty cool. We've also got other tokens, of course, Shiba Inu, Matic, Link, all the top favorites there are all there. So you can go and investigate those. But that's probably the interest in terms of the sacrifice is that one there, which is pretty cool. Now, where's PulseChain? Where's PulseChain? That's PulseX. That's the token. That's easy enough. But of course, PulseChain, how much is sacrificed there? We can't reconcile it. Let's go to we've got the coin at the bottom, test pulse there. It's all by itself. Let's go chicken on that. And bam, there we are. So what do we see here? Man, this is it's really cool, but it's also a little confusing. But basically, what do we see? We see the sacrifice set. So this is the top whale. Let's have a look here. These are basically, it's like the sacrifice distribution set. Boom, 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 going through. Plus any freebies, I guess, that have been given out. That is what's happened there. And of course, what we do is we go to the Pulse chain. Let's go back to the main leaderboard. This is the old third-party site, pulseleads.xyz. And of course, we can see the wallets at the top here. And see them. So we've got 39C5, the Hex well. So we're going to see that address 39C5. We go back to the top accounts for the Pulse coin. This is the Pulse coin. We can see 39C5 there. It's the same address, right? So 39C5. And of course you can see 39C5. And of course it's got 509 billion Pulse there. And it's got 226 transactions. Now we've also got the top one here as well. So we've got D6F. That is the top one for the Pulse lead. So we're going to jump out of there and go to the top. And you can see basically it's like a sacrifice list, almost, not quite that though. And you can see the top wallet here for the sacrifice, D6F. And Overwatch Rack and Michelle wallet, I believe, as well. So they're all both the same. And of course, this is the address there. So we've got 9D6F, and we can go there and see 9D6F there. And you can see the balance is 792. That is the expected T-Pulse balance there as well, which is pretty cool. I don't think we have summary on that. I don't think we do. Let me just jump back to here. What's the summary on there? Oh, it doesn't have the summary on here. It's not the same layout as the other one, but that is basically the idea. And so we can see that we've got the sacrifice sets in here, but then we have these two wallets at the top here, wallet 1 and 2, and of course they've got 6.372 E plus 12 decimals TPLS there. So these are probably gathering these are related to the sacrifice wallets, the OA wallets. So that's my guess there, but we don't actually have a total value here. And the only way I'm thinking about maybe you can do that is if you can query the blockchain, maybe with Web3, or whether you can query it with the GraphQL or something like that. May be possible to do that. So let us know in the chat there if you have done anything like that. But those may be ways of querying the total. In any case, you still wouldn't know. You'd know the total amount, which is what you're trying to get to. So you exactly what the snapshot was there as well. We have spreadsheets which give us estimates of PulseChain and PulseX sacrifice, but that is pretty much it. So anyway, that is an idea of the total amount for PulseX there. We also see the breakdown of PulseChain, but not the total amount, at least not on this basic view. And of course, we also can search your account by wallet, and you can just have a look to see what you got in the sacrifice set that got distributed. And we know it's distributed, right? We know it's distributed because it was in the GitLab here. So it's pretty easy to see. So when we look at GitLab, we see the details of the V3 launch. We can see that the sacrifice credits have been written, so they are on the blockchain. That's very, very important. So we know that is the case there. All right, so that is pretty cool. That is the chain there. I don't know if we want to look at anything else. I think that's it. You can also search, of course, in here, not just by address for your sacrifice or for your tokens. So not only was there a sacrifice, of course, all the tokens that you had on the Ethereum blockchain got copied over to PulseChain, but only from a certain date. So if you're wondering, hey, I just bought some in February, they're not showing up, I didn't get those copied over, why not? Why are my ERC20s not copied over to PRC20s? I bought them in February. It's because the fork of the PulseChain block is before that. It's on the 26th of January. So anything you bought after the 26th of January on a particular block height, it would not show up on the PulseChain. So if you're wondering why it's missing, it's because you bought it after that period, and that's very important. So how do we know that? We go to the GitLab for PulseChain, and we scroll down, and we can see that we have the block out. Congratulations, you're now connected to the PulseChain, but this is based on existing Ethereum accounts that had balances as of block 16,492,699. That is effectively the 26th of January 2023 at 6:11 p.m. plus UTC time. That is when the snapshot essentially, so we use snapshot inverted commas, but basically that's the block that got forked over. So whatever assets were sitting in your wallet at that particular date were the ones that get copied over to PulseChain. If you bought stuff after the 26th, it's not going to show up there, right? So that's important to know. But however, that's separate from the sacrifice. If you had a sacrifice in PulseChain, PulseX, obviously that just got copied over because that's done separately. As you can see here, the sacrifice credits have been written. So you got that as well. So hopefully that is clear. Let's get into the comments. I don't want to get too far ahead there, but that is our fifth topic on the sacrifice, and of course the ERC20 copies as well. So ERC20, so you know what got copied over. That's very important. So we've covered both those topics. That's topic number 5 and number 6 is the block fork take there. We're going to get into topic number 7, which is the Faucet. Before we do that though, let's check the chats and make sure there's no questions that we can hopefully answer or not. So let's get into it. Let's jump back up here. There are quite a few knowledgeable people in the chat there, so if they've added anything, that's always good. So let's see. I love Stephen's question though. that was a pretty good one. Is there night mode? That's the sort of question I'd ask there, Stephen. I love that. All right, so cool. Let's jump over to here. Brendan says, what faucet do you use for the test ETH? We'll talk. Are you talking about on the other chain? We'll talk about that hopefully. We haven't got up to that point yet, Brendan. So we may have to use a faucet for that. I have got faucets like that already in the useful links on Discord for the testnet chains for Ethereum. So we may have a look at that. Maybe a topic for tomorrow regarding the bridge. So we might talk about that then. Well, fees are so amazing. Lows, it's Christian. We got Francis in the house. Hello, Francis. Good to see you. And let's see how we're going here. Astro in house. Good to see Astro. Had weak hands until Hex was born. Nice. Let's jump through some of this. Brazology says 143 trillion PulseX sounds about right. Yeah, it was a little higher than I expected, but it's about right. I think you're right there, Briz. So a long time ago since we actually talked about the numbers. So yeah, I've got spreadsheets, but I was supposed to open them up for this live stream, but I forgot to do it. That's pretty much it. Pulse Jump in house there. Do you know if there will be extra coins for testnet users? I get a feeling Richard might be up to something. Hey, look, I don't know about that, but Richard has probably got a few things he's never even mentioned that are probably going to happen. Pulse Trump, I wouldn't be surprised with Richard. Brazil says, I was expecting 130. Yeah, mine was higher than 130, but I don't know if I recall it being as high as 143. Somewhere in between there is what I had. But we'll see. Once I look at my spreadsheet, I might comment on tomorrow, live stream when we get up there. But it's about right, 143. I logged in PulseX and my balances look good. So nice one. That was awesome, Briz. Who else is there? So Sinful Believer. So is that the official snapshot? I wouldn't believe so, Sinful Believer. I think the snapshot will be in the future. That is my expectation there for mainnet. And of course, Richard's given several warnings about mainnet coming up. So basically, he's indicating you guys really need to get your positions. If you got ERC20s, you need to get those in case. Now, the current chain, of course, was forked, quite a bit behind Ethereum. So I imagine we're going to get pretty close to the Ethereum blockchain, is my guess for that one. Sorry, was that the snapshot for the testnet only? That is correct. So that snapshot on the GitLab here, this is only for the testnet v3. I would expect a new one for the mainnet, and it should be pretty close to the Ethereum blockchain. So if we bring up the Ethereum blockchain, I don't want to get people too confused. This is the Ethereum one, not the PulseChain one. we can see that the block height on here, let's go here, the block height is at 16,895,000. So that's quite a far, that's still, quite a bit ahead of the Ethereum one, PulseChain. So just remember that. Now remember, when you fork away from a blockchain, you're going to separate out like this. It's going to like split. Ethereum will go off that off that way, and PulseChain will go off this way. And remember, we got faster block times, 10 seconds versus 12 seconds. And of course, every epoch is about over 6 minutes on the Ethereum chain, and it's only 5 minutes 33 on the PulseChain. So you can imagine the chains are going to veer off quite significantly, and we're going to add more blocks at a faster rate than the Ethereum chain, and have basically more net deflationary burn on it too. So good question though. So yeah, that's just a snapshot for this one at the moment. So we'll see what Richard decides. Yeah, so we're using snapshot in the sense of the block height that is being forked. So yeah, no snapshot yet. Briz is right about that. Hex is the GOAT, says DB. Hey DB, good to see you. America says, I wonder if the OA will use the coins he transferred into the DAI USDC to give stable coins a pulse on real value. That is one of the speculations, Mickey, and it's probably one of the most obvious speculations. So there is a bit of a war chest. No expectations, though, right? No expectations. We will see what happens there. There's probably around about 625 million in stable coins there, probably a bit higher in some ways, but most of it now denominated in DAI. It went from 51% of DAI, and I think it's probably over 90% last time I checked, something like that. Francis in house there. Hi, Superman. Good to see you, Francis. Cookies says, Crypto says, got to try me some transactions. Nice. What else there? Let's go through here. Brendan says it's all good, Superman. I was asking, and lies beneath. Oh, it's all good. All right, nice. Welcome everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. So that was we've done the official sites. We've added the blockchain testnet v3 to our wallets. We've done the fast and slow way, and we've also done from the official PulseChain site and the Block Explorer, Block Scout, but also we've used the PulseX. We've done the auto prompt via PulseX. So PulseX is an auto prompt. As soon as you connect, if you haven't got the testnet v3 on your chain, it's going to automatically ask you to add it to your wallet if you're going to interact with PulseX, the DEX. We've gone through both Explorers, the Scout and the Beacon chain. We've also looked at the Sacrifice sets that were given out. We've also looked at the ERC20 airdrops that you get, so on your wallet, and of course we looked at the block fork date there as well. So we're up to I think it's level number 7 now. We're up to the Faucet. So if you've got no Pulse, maybe you had no Ethereum, maybe you had no Pulse in the Sacrifice set or anything like that, and of course you haven't been able to buy any yet, then of course there's the Faucet, which is pretty cool for the testnet, so you can play around with the testnet. So obviously that's on the official side as well. You can jump to the Faucet there and click on that. It's obviously in the links in the video description and on our Discord under useful links, but we're going to go to the Faucet here, and I believe it's over here. Bam, there it is, faucet.v3.testnet.pulsechain.com. So this is it here, and of course you need to have the network, PulseChain network, linked on here so that it recognizes you. So let's go to that and connect. All you have to do is going to put this amount in here. That's your address. It's going to auto populate that, and of course then you're going to request. Now, but all these addresses I'm using all play addresses. None of these are real addresses used for anything. This all play here. All right, so there we are. So it's got a transaction. That means it's going to send me 10 Pulse, which is pretty cool, because I don't know if I've got any on this particular address. So we'll see. And that might take a few seconds to happen. So if we go to GitLab, we can actually see that there is details about that also. So getting T-Pulse to use on the PulseChain testnet. To get T-Pulse, you can use the T-Pulse Faucet. Navigate to the T-Pulse Faucet. That is the address there. Connect your Metamask wallet by clicking on the button, enter the address you want to send your T-Pulse to, and click request button. We have the 60 seconds to receive your Pulse, which is kind of pretty cool. And of course, the links to that are on the video description, and you can have it there or in our Discord under useful links. So pretty cool. All right, so that is I've requested that. There it is. It's coming. Woohoo! Look at that. Voila! It's coming, folks. Look at that. 10 test Pulse. Isn't that cool? And of course, you can see that on the blockchain. You can have a look at the blockchain and probably pull that up. Let's see what that looks like. It's probably take a little while for the transaction to show up, but it typically does whenever we go to look at this. Yeah, it will probably show up a bit later, but that is cool. We've got our 10 T-Pulse in there. Very, very cool. Now, because it's the main coin, you don't have to import the token. It's only tokens you have to import. The main coin is obviously shows up here. This is what you use for the gas fees, is T-Pulse. If you're going to do transactions, just like on Ethereum, if you were to use Ethereum. So if you click over to the Ethereum blockchain in your MetaMask, it will come up with ETH, and you can use ETH there. Or you can just jump over to the Pulse chain and you'll use Pulse. So it's the coin for the chain for fees. So it's pretty cool. So that is pretty much it on the Faucet. How easy was that? That was super fast. That was number 7. So let's see if there's any questions about number 7. Don't think there is. No questions. Easy. Let's move on to step number 8 in our beginner series for PulseChain TestNet v3. Staking. Now we're only going to do an overview of staking. Staking is somewhat involved compared to these simple processes. Now most people will look to do that at some other stage. Maybe a lot of people who are not technically savvy might just forget it and wait till there's some third-party places where you can do delegation instead. Instead of validating, you delegate. So you delegate your pulse that you have. Maybe you have 32 million, maybe you don't, and you want to participate anyway. That's one of the options that you will have. There'll be other options, like other third-party dApps like Liquid Lines and others, Fiat, Fork of Aave, and stuff like that. So there'll be other different ways of trying to get good yield for the pulse. All right, so that is that. So we're up to staking. Let's go back to the website. So stake them, you can stake them there. So that's kind of cool. Or you can scroll down to the developers page and become a validator. Both of them are pretty much the same. You click the stake there, it's going to bring up to the staking page, and that is here. So staking page is pretty cool. It's launchpad.v3.testnet.testnet.pulsechain.com. So that is the link, and the link's in the video description and in our useful links on Discord. And of course, you see the different stuff here. I've gone through this before on live streams, but we've got an overview at the top here. We've got deposits, we've got clients, we've got checklist here as well. So clients, you got Aragon, Pulse, Go Pulse. These are the 2 execution clients, and Lighthouse and Prism. Now you need a combination of an execution client and a consensus client to run as a validator if you're solo staking. So that's the key there. There's a checklist as well. So obviously the PulseChain team have tried to make this as friendly as possible. One of the devs called Gamma is out there on YouTube. He's got doing videos. We've also got his videos on our useful links in our Discord. So the link to Discord is in the video description and in the chat there. And you can watch all his videos on Aragon on all the clients. There are 4 clients being used for PulseChain. And of course, they pretty much dominate Ethereum as well. The execution clients do about 90% of the work on Ethereum and about 85% of the consensus clients. And so basically we've got it covered. We've got it covered with those 4 for the most part. So it's pretty cool. And why do you need more than one execution client, more than one consensus client? Just in case there's any bug issues in one particular client. Maybe there's an update in that particular client code. Maybe there's a bug comes into it or something like that. Something unusual like that. So it just helps with that diversification of software and makes validating and security of network even better. So that's kind of the logic there. All right, so this checklist, we've got the FAQs as well. Gives you all the details, what exactly is a validator. And of course, it tells you all those details. We've gone through all of this on before, so you can read this in your own time. But basically, you need 32 million pulse to validate by yourself. At the sacrifice rate, that's about $3,100, $3,200 at the sacrifice rate. So that is kind of the point there. What will the market price be? We will find out what the market price will be when mainnet goes live, and you'll understand. Maybe you'll be able to get it cheaper than that. Maybe it will cost you a lot more than that. We will see what the market decides. So that's pretty much it. That is where we are. So it's got lots of details, as you can see, and it's a lot more technical detail. So we're only going to do an overview, but that is the play there. And of course, why would you validate? You help secure the network, and of course, you get to earn some of the fees from validating the block. That's pretty much it. Or test dating it. There we are. So it's got cool. We've got become a validator, learn about staking, and more stats. And you can see at the moment the total amount of T-Pulse at the moment that's staked for validators is sitting at 5.1 billion pulse. There are 4,195 validators. Remember, we needed at least 4,096 to kick it off, because we need 128 validators per slots per epoch. There's 32 slots, so that's 32 times 128, and that gives us 4096. And we start off with 4097, kind of the play there. And of course, the current APR there is 0.2%, which is kind of cool. So that is where it starts. We'll see what that happens to that over the future. We'll see where that goes to. On Ethereum, this is around about 5 to 7%, I believe, at the moment. It started off much higher, multiple teens in the percentage returns. I think it's about 5 to 7%, depending on what you're doing. And of course, if you're doing liquid staking on Ethereum, you can take the validating tokens, and so it might be like if you did ETH and liquid staking, validating it would be you put your ETH in, and then they'll give you a token called SETH, so a staked ETH, and then you can go and put that in another pool and earn on top of that. So a bit like that, a bit like farming, providing liquidity, and then put your LP tokens in farming and earning an incentive tokens, bit like that. So that's the logic there. So pretty cool. That is all the details in there. So to become a validator, and of course this is just an overview. There are a few steps. Learn about your responsibilities, prep notes there, what you need to run an execution client. Typically a lot of people use a dedicated computer, probably at least 1 or 2 terabytes of SSD storage, and probably 16 to 32 gigabytes of RAM, somewhere like that. We strongly recommend you go through the entire process of testnet first. You've got to avoid phishing and time to deposit. You got to deposit, of course. The cool thing about depositing and validating is that you still you're only depositing it in another address that you have to set up that you own. So you have a private key, public key for that as well. Wait to become active as well. You wait once set up, your validator won't become active straight away. Use this time to complete the checklist and get some extra practice on the testnet. So pretty cool, and then you can become a validator. So they've made it really easy to become a validator. Learn about staking, of course, before you start, during setup, after deposit, and so they've got all the steps in here, 1, 2, 3. They also give you the details about how much hard drive you need. Like here, it's got 1 terabyte for storage there. They've also got the CPU and the RAM that you'll need on your computer. So it's pretty good there, and also the internet connection as well. So it's pretty neat there. But as I say, we've got videos from Gamma setting up all these clients, Aragon, Prism, GoGet, and of course Lighthouse in our Discord under useful links, and it's pretty good. It's the second to last update that we made there. So it's kind of cool. You can see all the details in there, which is pretty cool. And there's obviously testnet. The best place to do that is on testnet. Configure execution client. You can already see Go, Pulse there, and Aragon. Those are the 2 execution clients. These are the 2 consensus clients, Prism and Lighthouse. You need a combination of these, one execution client, one consensus client. Typically people will use probably Go, Pulse and Prism together. So that's a common combination as well, but you could use the other combinations as well. So that's kind of cool as well. So there we are. We've got the C as well, C fees. That you have to have an address to receive your fees. And of course, you won't be able to, in PulseChain, you won't be able to withdraw the Pulse out because we are waiting for the Shanghai upgrade on Ethereum, and that's not due to the 12th of April. And of course, if that's successful, then the team's likely either to go with that fork, possibly, but at this stage it seems like they may just do that as an upgrade later on, and we'll see what Richard decides and the team decides on that later on. So that is just to let you know that at the moment on Ethereum, people cannot withdraw their staked ETH in validating, and it's been in there for since December 2020, and people have been adding up to that. There's about 17 million or so Ethereum locked up there, plus rewards on top of that. And of course, none of them can get it out until at least the 12th of April, and even then, they can only get it out in stage groups after that as well. That's only about 14% of all ETH that's out in the market, about 121 million ETH. And so if you think about it, the average for EVM change is about 40% staked. So I'm in the bullish scenario where I actually think, despite there being some selling by people, that it would actually open the doors for large institutions and large holders to gain more confidence, because now not only can they deposit their ETH and earn validator rewards, but they can also withdraw it at any time, and that gives huge confidence and opens it up to much bigger institutions that will be able to say, yeah, we can go in and go out whenever we want and get our yield. And so that is likely for me. We may see it the staking jump from 14% up to 40%. We will see. The market will decide, but that seems to be the logic to me, and we'll find out. Now, obviously, PulseChain, waiting for the Shanghai fork. We look for that as well. So people can deposit, but you won't be able to withdraw until that time. The other thing, of course, you won't be able to issue yourself a withdrawal withdrawal address until that point as well, but you must keep your basically your seed phrases aside there, your mnemonics as they call it. You must keep that private until that point. So that's kind of the play there. So you've got to see it's a nice setup. We might actually do a separate video on that, but that is an overview of the staking. Now, obviously on this launch pad as well, we've got access to other dApps, the PulseX, the Pulse Bridge, and the Sacrifice checker here as well. So it's pretty neat. So hopefully that's a nice overview as well. So that is topic number 8, I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's number 8, number staking overview. Let's see if there's any other questions in the chat there. We've got Astro says PLS. Yes, very much likely. We'll see a lot of the things we see on Ethereum, we're likely to see on a PulseChain. So even though we're talking about solo staking at the moment, we're likely to see pooled staking, liquid staking. Liquid staking is where you can make, take the ownership token and get issued another token like SETH. You'll get like SPulse and stuff like that. We should see that. And of course, we'll see centralized exchanges probably come and play, especially when they see the PulseChain value up very quickly. And of course, we'll probably likely see staking as a service and things like that. So it's going to be lots of different forms that we see on Ethereum that will be an innovation boom on PulseChain that's not even really here yet. So look forward to that. It's going to be fun to see that out. Now, it's a question mark, right? So we'll see how that all plays out, but that makes sense, doesn't it? Simple Believer says, are you back to 2 streams a day? Just while the testnet V3 is on, whenever there's something big, Simple Believer, I'll be covering it. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, I'm doing one a day. Someone will probably build options too. Yeah. So there'll be validation and delegation options pretty much. So it's kind of cool. Everybody should be able to play the game, as it were. All right. So that's kind of cool. That is our topic number 8. We're going to get to PulseX. Now, PulseX is where we get up to the point where, at the moment, this is kind of the way the mainnet's kind of lay. Like you fork the Ethereum blockchain. You launch your own PulseChain. In this case, testnet V3, the first proof of stake version. And of course, then you run the AMM bot. We've had that run, and we can see on GitLab that has been run. We go up here, and we can see the AMM bot has been executed to rebalance various automatic market makers, so like Uniswap, PancakeSwap, perhaps we don't know what's inside this as far as I know, Balancer, Bancor, 0x, whatever, we just don't know. So it's got those first two probably at least, and so they're trying to create these big liquidities with the wrapped ETH pools, which is a fraction of all ETH, of course, because that's what they use for DeFi trading pools. I think it's probably about 12%. I think in the past it's been about 8%, so it moves around a bit. And that's what they harvest across all those pools, and they set those up. So non-ETH pairs, of course, have to be set up manually, and that's going to be where a lot of fun will be playing as well. So we'll see how that all goes. So that's why we end up with Pulse. We probably have about 12.5, 13 trillion in the public hands, and we'll probably get about 2.5 to 3 trillion has probably been minted in this AMM bot run for the PulseX. That probably gets us up to, maybe 15.5 to 16 trillion in the public hands compared to, say, a PulseX, which is around 17. So those are the rough numbers I have at the moment. Obviously, that's subject to confirmation, but that's kind of where we are at this stage. So that's kind of cool. So we're going to jump over to PulseX. And you can find PulseX, obviously, on pulsex.com. The link's in the video description, but I've got all the links there anyway for you to make it nice and easy. And, of course, you can just go to PulseX, just click this button here, testnet V3, and that will, if you click on that, that will bring up PulseX. But there's also, I posted all the links for you anyway, so you can go hit those in the video description, plus on our Discord under useful links. So this is PulseX. This is a DEX. It's based on V2, Uniswap V2. It's got kind of a PancakeSwap front end on it with branding for PulseX, for the PulseX branding. That's pretty much it. Now, it hasn't got everything on at the moment. So they've got things you can toggle on features. Some of the features are not toggled on, basically. We've got the exchange, so the basic exchange, you can do swapping. You can provide that swapping here. You can see that here. You can actually hit, there's a little icon here. It's got a chart, so you can actually take away the chart. But the chart's really useful, right? The chart's useful. Why? Because it gives you the ratio. If you don't have the chart up, you don't see the ratio, right? You've got to manually put it in. So you have to go 1 pulse, for example. And of course, as you know, the bigger amount that you put in here, the more slippage you have. So it does have a sort of a trade-off there. So anyway, you can put the little chart button on, and it will give you the chart, which is pretty cool. Obviously, we've just launched, so there's likely to be not much data in there. with the 24 hours, so just the way it goes. But it does give you a ratio at the moment. So the way you read this is 1 pulse equals 4.48 PulseX. So just always put a 1 in front there. You can switch that around by switching the arrows, and you got the basic view at the moment too. So you can switch the arrows around, and there we are. So 1 PulseX will give you 0.223 pulse. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense there. And you got the change in price there as well. Now it's got basic here. Not sure what else is on there. So that is kind of cool. So this is going to move around a lot, right? So people talk about ratio trading. Ratio trading is going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard to make the right calls. I'm sure some people will have the good outcomes. Some people will have bad outcomes. So really it's going to be interesting to see. Now, a lot of people, here's probably just a bit of an overview. This is not really to do with the overview, but you got people that have sacrificed for Pulse and PulseX. They already have their bags. I know most of the people I know, not everybody, but most people I know wanting to accumulate more. So that's good for obviously the price. They want to accumulate more. Now, some of them may back out and say they say I want to do so, but do they do the action, right? Do they actually follow up? So it'll be a mixed bag. We'll find it'll all play out in the wash. And then of course we've got a lot of people that missed out on PulseChain big time because there was only just over 40,000, maybe 42, 43,000 wallets, and some of those wallets, some people have lots of wallets, so the actual unique number of people is probably much smaller. So that's if you take account, I know people with a lot of Genesis wallets, and they don't if you uniqued all those, there would only be far less than 42. So you can imagine all the people coming. It's going to be a certain amount. Is it going to be 100x people coming to one in terms of those pulse? We'll find out. Obviously, they all have different amounts of pulse. Some of the big whales, as we saw earlier, have a lot of pulse and so forth. So we'll see how it plays out in the wash. Obviously, PulseX was a bigger sacrifice. There were more people around. We had something like 140,000 wallets or so. So it was way bigger, maybe 3.5 times bigger ballpark. So it was quite a bit bigger. And of course, there's a lot of Genesis addresses in there too. People use that as a strategy. They go, well, if people are going to airdrop the Genesis addresses, I might as well mint myself a few addresses, right? That's what they do. And so there's a lot of people have probably done that, people in the know, because people who are in Hex, and there's a lot of people that are sacrificed for Hex, some would say around about 2/3 maybe for PulseChain, and of course a lot of them know the tricks. They say, well, I got all these airdrops, 1 inch and Uniswap for Hex, I'll probably get that from my Genesis wallets, right? So there'll be quite a few out there. Now how many, we'll find out, but I suggest you there are a few, because I know a few, right? So this is the way it goes. So we're going to see that play out. Now, obviously, if you haven't, you've got to buy it, right? You've got to buy it the first day or two after the fork. So we have the fork run, we have the AMM bot run, sets up the pools into PulseX, locks down the LP for that, and then people can make custom pairs with their free airdrops on the blockchain. Everything on Ethereum gets copied over in theory. And of course, maybe the Block Explorer doesn't show them all at the moment because it's still indexing, so some of them might not show up. So we're looking out for that too. Have seen a few comments around that, or some contracts not showing yet. Maybe it's just because the index Explorer index is not there yet. So that's very important. So that is kind of the lay of the land. And yeah, we have a lot of people who want to do ratio trading at first day or two. Once they get those pairs and PulseX is up, they can ratio trade just like we have now. So we had a pretty similar flow to probably how it's going to happen. Probably be a little bit faster because they're already doing it on the testnet. And they have a bit of an order book, how they're going to lay things out. They have things ready for that. And then, of course, people are going to be able to race trade. Then, of course, we're expecting the bridge to open up, right? So we're going to talk about that in a second. And the bridge will be able to bring over bridge pairs. So we've got the AMM bot running, setting up the pairs there with the Pulse, Visa, Wrapped ETH. And then, of course, we're going to have custom pairs being set up by people, project teams and individuals. And the liquidity pools, and then of course we're going to have the bridged in pairs set up as well with the stable coins, and that's what we're after with the V2 setup, Uniswap V2 setup on PulseX. So it's going to be pretty important. Now the other thing, of course, is there are incentives. It's not just the incentives there. There's the incentive token. So we've got PulseX and the incentive token. Both those are dual tokens, and they are pretty awesome. So the PulseX itself, tokenomics, are going to attract a lot of people because of the big buy and burn feature. And so that's a big deal. 0.22% out of the 0.29 fee on every trade is going to go to the liquidity providers, and of course 0.07% is going to go to the buy and burn function, which is pretty important. So that's going to be powerful. And of course, on top of that, we have the incentive token. It does seem in the code to have a burn feature as well. We'll see if that's just used individually or as there's something greater to that. We will see. Also can be theoretically controlled by the deployer as well. So we'll see what that means as well. So that's kind of cool. Will we see staking with that as well? That's another question. So it's also cool with the incentive. Now the incentive token is expected to have a deflationary emission curve. So it should basically decline over time. We'll see what sort of profile that is. Is it a step type of thing, or is it kind of a curved thing over time? We'll see. And so yeah, but that's going to attract a lot of liquidity providers, and they're going to want to put their liquidity in pretty fast when the mainnet goes live. So it's going to be pretty important. We're going to see a lot of stuff play out. It's going to be fun to see. All right, so that's kind of the process. Then, of course, we have that official bridge, which we're talking about. And at the moment, we're waiting for that to kick off, right? So we go to the Pulse ramp. We can see at the moment that it's not picking up the V3 test network. So I have V3 testnet here. It's not picking that up. Let's connect and see whether that's going to work. Disconnect. No, it's just not working there. Not picking it up. And so it's not live yet. But Richard said on his Twitter, let's bring up Richard Hart. And he said that it would be here tomorrow, which is today, but it may, give or take. I mean, the team's, got probably doing their best priorities for that. So we're just waiting for that at the moment. And of course, you can see, I think it's in this update. So let's scroll down. Yeah, so here it is. So they'll turn on a bridge to another Ethereum testnet, maybe tomorrow. So there's a bit of a maybe there too. So that fake stable coins can be bridged in, and that will allow the dollar values to show in the PulseX testnet info site. So that's what we're waiting for. So it's the sort of that final stage. And of course, we'll have ratio trading before this, probably. And of course, that's when people have to be careful with ratio trading their tokens. Yeah, getting a good rate. Is it going to be 1 to 3? Is it going to be 4.5 like it is now? Of course, this is just a test net. We just don't know what it's going to be. Could have quite a wide range. There could be some extremes to the ratio too. I have a feeling we've seen a lot of the test net, I think at around about 1 to 3 ratio. We've had a lot of people thinking about that. We'll see what it does. Probably going to be quite volatile. Just depends on who's buying and selling at the time. I think a lot of people that are holding, I don't really know anyone that's going to be ratio trading that's already got Sacrifice. So it's going to be an interesting demand side thing. I think it's on the demand side that's going to be the biggest thing. A lot of people sacrifice with PulseX wanting to get Pulse because they miss Pulse, but I don't know if that's as many people now. I think people realize the tokenomics of PulseX is pretty powerful with the buy and burn, and yeah, we might see what happens at the end of the day. But be careful out there. Ratios can go against you pretty quickly. And of course, once we get a price on it, US dollar price, that's going to be important as well. Anyway, so you can trade. So you can do a trade here, and you can put in, I've got 10,000 Pulse. I can buy some PulseX, and all I have to do is click swap there. It's going to tell me the prices of that, price impact. So the price impact of this is really small because I'm not doing a big trade. So it's less than 0.01% of what's in the liquidity pool. It's got the price at the moment, so you can see it's rapidly updating. One of the things you might have issue here is the slippage. Yesterday I had to do 10% on the slippage. When it becomes real, you probably just have 0.5%, probably be fine. In most cases, it just depends on how big you are in terms of what you're doing. So we've got one Pulse price there, one PulseX price equals 0.223 Pulse. And one Pulse price there equals 4.448 PulseX, and it's pretty cool. So you can see that ratio there. Liquidity provider fee, of course, is there. 29 Pulse it's going to cost me. So they're getting paid pretty well. 0.29 there. That is the 0.29% fee. Remember I said that is the fee. We've got the liquidity provider fee is 0.22% of that. You can actually highlight, if you put your mouse over those words, it's going to tell you what it is. So for each trade, a 0.29% fee is paid, 0.22% to the LP token holder, and 0.07% towards the PLSX buyback and burn. Now, this is a little different from what's on the PulseX site, right? The PulseX site needs to be updated for this, unless they're planning on changing that again. But this is what it's been on PulseX for a long time. And that was being changed, by the way. Previously used to be a slightly smaller number because there was a fee for the PulseX team. So we'll see whether that gets clarified or not. But at the moment, that's what it's showing on PulseX. Minimum received over slippage, 10%. And that's what it's there. We're going to update the price there. Output estimated, you will receive at least 40,704 PulseX. So let's do that. So most people are going to go the other way, right? They're going to probably go the other way, but we're going Pulse to PulseX. How about that? Because we love the buy and burn feature. This is the way it goes. All right, so it's going to pop up a ticket. You can't see that, but it's going to cost me a little bit of Pulse, 0.0007 test Pulse. and of course that you can add the ticket here. So this is in PulseX, it helps you for the first time if you're ever using it and adding the token, it will actually prompt you to add the actual token. You don't have to import it manually through the Metamask, which you've probably done many times on Ethereum and other networks. You can see that transaction was a green, so that means it's gone through. If it was red, that means something's gone wrong. Maybe the slippage is too wrong or something like that. We will see. Or maybe it was just too late on the transaction time. So that's kind of cool. We're going to add PulseX to the wallet because I haven't done it on this particular wallet. It's going to pop up a ticket. And of course, it's just going to say add suggested token, PulseX. Yep, I'm going to do that. And close this as well. And there we are. So I bought some PulseX. We're going to go to our wallet. And it's going to should populate here on the wallet here soon. Very, very cool. Or did I use a different wallet? What wallet have I used for that transaction? Am I on a different wallet? I think I am. I'm on a different wallet here, folks. So it's actually populated on a different connection there. That's hilarious. How could I get two wallets connected at once? Who knows? But I did it. All right. So let me just refresh this browser. What exchange on there? I'm on two. I've got two instances of the PulseX. Can't believe it. All right, so that is the instance. Let me just refresh this. And we're going to do that again. We're going to swap to this wallet. And we're going to connect. So it's not connected. I have to connect that. Bam. So that's the second address. I'm using two different addresses. This is the second address. We've got 10 pulse there. Let's see if I can do it with that. I don't have much pulse on this one. So we're going to go 5 as well. And we're going to buy 22. Let's see if that works. And yeah, we've got a little bit of fee there. We're going to click OK and tick that along. So we're just swapping a little bit here on this other secondary address. Click OK. Now you can do it because it's the transaction fee is only a fraction of a pulse, right? So even though I'm only using 10 pulse to buy a bit of PulseX, that works out fine. So cool. We're going to add that token to this new address, and that should go through hopefully. I got different settings on this wallet, so let's see what happens. All right, that's green, so that's good. That's good. It went through, and we can actually hit that view pulse scan on the block explorer. It's going to take us to the PulseChain block explorer. Oh, it's not found this yet, so we'll find it, but it's not there yet. We'll have to go back and refresh for that. But in any case, there it is. So we swapped 5 test pulse for 22.39 PulseX. So there we are, folks. We did it. We ratio traded. We ratio traded like a rebel. Like a rebel. But hey, this is the way it goes. Because our pulse was getting 4.48 PulseX, and I believe in PulseX. I think PulseX is going to beat out PulseChain. This is the way it goes. So nice deal there. Now you can pick up other tokens, of course. There's incentive. Maybe we want after the incentive token, and we could probably pick up some of that. Let's see how much. Let's do two pulse here, and we'll pick. Oh, really? Is that the ratio? Now I'm not sure what the liquidity. It should be plenty fine at this level. Let's see what we got there. So it's obviously as a fraction. Let's go. One incentive token is 18,800 pulse. Are you kidding me? Get out of here right now. Isn't that hilarious? That's funny. All right, let's confirm the swap, and let's do it. Let's do it. This is insane, but we're doing it. See, it's propped to the INC token because we haven't added this. This is a cool thing about PulseX. It will prompt you to add the tokens as opposed to doing it manually, which is a lot easier, right? So we're going to add that, and it will pump up a ticket on our Metamask, and we're just going to say add the token. Yep, cool. And close that out. Close that, and there we are. Perfect. It went through successfully. Really, really cool. So if you do have some issues with this and it's not going through, it may be due to the speed that you're pushing it through. Maybe the market's moving really fast. There's not much liquidity. But you can hit the cogs at the top. The cogs is this little wheel up here. And of course you can hit that, and you can click your default speed. You can make it standard or fast. If there's a fast moving market, maybe you want fast. Maybe the price going up real fast or down real fast. But if it's doing that, it's likely, and depending on the liquidity, it's likely to have a lot of slippage, right? So you can change your slippage. Setting a high slippage tolerance can help a transaction succeed, but you may not get such a good price used with caution, because obviously if the price slips further, you'll lose a lot of value, right? That's why a lot of people have, you know how we get these big whales and they dump down the price and they just do a market sell. People go, well, how silly is that? They lost themselves 5%, 10% of the value. And so that's a fair criticism, because there are other ways to get more value out of your trade, right? Limit orders, providing liquidity in the pools and things like that. So that's some of the reasons that people do it, or just dollar cost average out over a wider period of time. You can see here we've got different options: 0.1, 0.5. Now typically 0.5 is, I think, typically used in terms of slippage. Just depends on the amount of liquidity that's in there too. 0.5, but you can use 1% as well. You can use 0.1. See here, I put 0.1. It says your transaction may fail, so it gives you nice little warnings. 0.5 is probably pretty good in a pretty good liquid market. Now, obviously on testnet, some of the peerings that get routed probably may not have enough liquidity for that, so maybe you have to have 1%. Yesterday, when I first started, I had to manually turn this into like 10%. So you can actually customize, go 10% on there as well. Your transaction may be front run though by bots. So we have these MEV bots particularly, and we see them come in and push people's price up or push people's price down depending on whether they're buying or selling, and they pay a much higher price because they come in with a whole ton of ETH or a whole ton of Pulse, and they push the price up and down with these MEV bots. They front run the pool by paying a bigger amount of ETH for the transaction and go direct to the MEV pool, and they get picked up priority, and they beat you to it, and then they sell after you all in the same time. They're little minis like that, but they don't always win. Sometimes they get beaten down by people that play them as well with some clever coding. Transaction deadline. As well, you've got expert mode. Now, expert mode, of course, you can break. This is all the safety mode at the moment, if you think about safety mode, but you can do FD mode by bypassing confirmation models and allow high slippage trades. Use at your own risk. So that's really for experienced traders that are willing to take a bit of risk. It may pay off for them. So you can undo that, but you'll have to put a password in if you do that, which is the word confirm. So you'll have to do that. Disable multi-hops. Restricts swaps to direct peers only, so you can only swap peer-to-peer instead of it going via another different token. Instead of jumping from this token to this token to this token to get the token you want, you can disable that. Otherwise, the DEX will try and route you there on that one. So it's kind of cool. That is it on that one. There's a few other things. You can change the language, of course, stuff like that. There's the price of PulseX when we have US dollars. That is the play there as well. So that is the exchange. We've got a beautiful chart here as well. We can also go to liquidity, and we can add liquidity manually. As I said to you, the AMM belt's going to run first. Think of it like the first trade. It's going to harvest all those big DEXs with the wrapped ETH pairs, set up and lock in that LP to set it off. Then people are also going to be able to obviously get the copies of the Ethereum on the blockchain. They'll be able to set up their own pairs that aren't ETH related or wrapped ETH related. And of course, they'll be able to set up their own combinations. And that's when, once they get set up, people can add to those pairs. And on it goes, and liquidity improves, and there's better trading, and of course people are earning fees on everyone else trading, which is pretty cool. And of course PulseX earns fees on every single trade. So if there's thousands of trading pairs, the PulseX buy and burn is going to be glorious, and that's what we're looking forward to. That is our great hope. Our great hope. All right, so that is pretty cool. So we can put in any pairing here. We can put Pulse and PulseX, and obviously it's going to tell us the price of the pool. So you're going to have a starting price when you enter. You're going to have a closing price when you exit. And typically the difference will be your impermanent loss or impermanent gain. That's also a topic that you need to think about when you're providing liquidity, because the value of your tokens will move around subject to the price. Sometimes prices move together. If it's two stable coins and they're both stable, like they don't get rug pulled then by the government or something, then they're gonna move together, and you can earn nice little fees there. And they're going to be lower fees than perhaps pairs that move against each other. It just depends on that. So there's a lot of thought to be had around liquidity providing. It's definitely not a beginner's thing to do. You definitely need to educate around about liquidity providing. But obviously, by adding liquidity, you're going to earn a 0.22% of all trades on this pair in proportion to your share of the pool. So in proportion to your share, fees are added to the pool, accrue in real time, and can be claimed by withdrawing your liquidity after all. So at the end, so that's pretty cool. Remember, this is V2, so there's no you have to provide both sides of the pool. Once we upgrade to V3, which is potentially open access after the 1st of April, people can fork the V3 chain. Then you can get more exotic forms of revenue, and it's really can be very high earning yield on those, because you can provide just one side of the pool, and particularly get part of the liquidity curve pricing, and get even way higher returns. And some people program that as well, which means that they can adjust their LP positions all the time. We see that on the whale bot. We see some big players moving the liquidity. They come out of position, they move back into another price range, and they're always trying to maximize their earnings there as well. It's kind of cool. So that is what we can do there. And of course, we've only got a little bit here, so we'll try and do two. Let's try and do two there. 2 Pulse and 8.98 PulseX. This is not a lot, so we're not going to earn a lot here. We're going to have to enable the PulseX spend. That's going to bring up a ticket. You can set a cap. It's going to ask us whether we want to do a custom spend, which basically means limit the amount that they're going to be able to take out of a wallet. That's a good safety feature, particularly for sites that you don't trust, like DEXs you're not very familiar with. Then that's a good way to do. I'm just going to, for simplicity here, just going to close max and click next. So we're going to approve that. This is a testnet wallet, and it's a testnet on the Pulse chain, so pretty easy there. So kind of cool. That's going to process, hopefully. What it's going to do is it's going to take out our Pulse and PulseX, put it into the liquidity pool. People can trade that. We're going to earn fees off that, 0.22%. And of course, it's going to give us an ownership token called an LP token, liquidity provider token, and that's going to be called PLP here. And so that's important. And we can see that transaction was successful. We saw that successful transaction there, which is pretty cool. And that's going to give us an LP token. Let's go to our Metamask. We can see, oh, wow, it's already got an automatic payment here. I'm not sure why it's giving automatic payment. It's already given us 0.000106 incentive token. So I'm not sure why it's done that. So that may be a little issue. I did see that yesterday. I know it's auto there. So we're going to have a look. And we're going to go to PulseX. Oh, let me go here. I've lost my page. Sorry about that. So we're going to go to now, we've done trading. We've done liquidity provision. Now we're going to go to the farm and take our ownership tokens of our liquidity we just put in, and now we can earn incentive tokens as well. So we're earning the fees in the liquidity, 0.22%, and of course we're earning, going to be able to earn the incentive token as well, which is one of the dual tokens of PulseX, and it's for liquidity farming, so we can do that. Now we obviously have to have our tokens in here. The first step we have to do is enable the contract. So we're going to do that, and that is our we got PLSX LP stake there. We're going to click maximum because we're just going to say maximum there. That's maybe I'm not reading enough there. Let's go. I'm not sure if it reads my decimals there. Let's see how we go there. So that's submitted. Okay. Hopefully that's all going to work because I haven't got many. I haven't got many of them, have I? So it's cool. Let's refresh that. Approve PLSX spend cap. Let's get into some of the comments here. See what else anyone's got. We've got 54 people in the house, so great to see everybody, by the way. Let's jump in. How far did I get back up here? Let's go right back up here. I think I got up to here. Lies Beneath is waiting on to try liquid lines. Yes. That will be an alternative, probably a pretty lucrative alternative to validating, particularly for the majority of people. Merky, is there an estimate how much validators in? Is it about the same as ETH 67? Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, Merky. We will find out at the beginning. We will just have to wait and see, subject to the GWAI and the price of Pulse and things like that. And of course, how much on time you are with your validating, what validating option you're on to. But it will probably, yeah, we'll find out. I don't know exact percentage what it will be. But we'll have to see. Now we do see on the beacon, we already see that people earning, that's suggesting that people are earning 22 T-Pulse a day at the moment. But that's on hardly any volume, right? So we're just getting the volume ramped up now. We've had our first day of 76,000 transactions. So we'll try and have a look at that in the next couple of days, get a sense of what that might be like. Yield on yield, baby. Yeah, definitely. Liquidity and farming. That's yield on yield. Yeah, and we may very well have some SPF. SPL, yes, stake PLS, yeah. What else there? Let me jump through some of that. Someone will probably build options too. Yep, expecting a lot of innovation in the validating space. Astro says, are we still using a normal DAO for PulseX voting? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Not quite up to that, but we'll get up to there. Any long-term belief in Hex Power and Ether? Not really for me, Pulse Trump. I have covered it in depth at the beginning, but only because people were asking me, and it was a fork of the chain, which was kind of exciting. But they're both performing pretty badly, and maybe they'll get a bit of uplift in the bull market, but so far they're not really doing much at all. I mean, there's hardly any volume on ETH Fear. Like it's very, very low. ETH Power has a little bit. I think it's like $1,000 for PulseX. PulseX is sorry, Hex, I should say. That's making a lot of that, but yeah, different topic, but we'll try and move on. only 140,000 wallets. Just imagine when it hits the millions. That's right, Simple Believer. So this is why I talk about, what is it, 100x to one wallet. Of course, we're dealing with volumes. That's actually more important. How much did people get in the sacrifice wallets? But it's really down to the player. We have a lot of long-term large whales, but we also have a couple of wild cards that are willing to sell down for a couple of X's because it's big money for them. We'll see what X's they do, but that's kind of the play. I should order some more HW2 now that time is approaching. Not sure what that is. Sorry about that. Debbie Cooper in the house. Good to see Debbie. One day closer, definitely, after the testnet v3. I always remove hardware wallets after use so I don't get caught out having two open. Can confuse the interface if you don't. Yeah. Well, it's the first time I've actually done it, hasn't it, Brennan? You've seen my coverage. It was just unfortunate. I decided to change my tact today. I was just going to use my main wallet, but I wanted to add a few things that are new without deleting it all. Maybe some reminder from the slippage, possibly. All right, so let's get in here. So, all right, so normally your LP tokens show up here too, so I'm not sure why they're not showing up. Let me just go to the chain. Let me just copy this briefly, and I'm going to go to the Block Explorer. I'm not sure if they actually let's go to the, I don't want to get too distracted here, but let's go to, I've got the expend there, proof spend, so on the Block Explorer, they're not able to allocate that too. It is indexing, so it's probably causing a lot of the problem, is the indexing there. Let us go back to PulseX and continue on. So I'm pretty sure I enabled that contract. Let's see. It's still asking for enable there. Let's have a look. Let's try one more time. Maybe because I haven't got much in here. Allows you to put there. My PLPs is very small. That may be the case because I've got such small. I should have done much bigger numbers. So maybe I should transfer some a big amount of Hex and PulseX in. We'll see. Let's go to there. And we've got that approving there. My unit numbers were very small too, like, was it 2 pulse? Something like that, probably just far too small. Ten-second block times. It says contract enabled, but it's still coming up here. Still not reading my my balance on here, which is a little bit weird. Let us jump over. Let's jump over to my old wallet. Let's jump over to my old wallet for a second and pull that in. Yeah, I was a little bit worried when I did the small amount. I was like, am I pushing it here? So this is my existing wallet. So this is the other wallet that I did yesterday. This already has incentive token in it. You can see that 0.006. The problem is that's not allowing you to withdraw on it, and that's the issue that someone else raised earlier in the piece about withdrawing. I think it was Brennan. It doesn't have the withdrawals, just got the enable contract. So that's an issue that needs to be fixed up. I'm not sure why that's happening, but that is, hopefully that will be because it should have a withdrawal button. Let me just go to the different view. So you can swap the views here. So you can have this sort of tablet view here, or you can have this long view. What's Billy X is in there? Billy X got some comments. Brendan says always bring the alpha. Yeah, we're trying to, although I think I've probably got to add PLP when you create your LP pair. Try adding your stake on the harm. Yes, what I did yesterday, Billy X, just didn't pop up the LP token today. Try adding your stake on the farm. I don't know if it showed up on that, so we'll go back to liquidity and see. It's not even showing up my liquidity that I offered in, so that's probably because I haven't got enough. What we'll have to do is I'm going to go back to, this is on my main wallet, so let me swap back to my other wallets and see, is it showing up? And it's not showing my liquidity pair there either. Let's scroll back to my main. I'm going to swap my other wallet, so this is my main wallet for playing around. And let's go back to here, add liquidity. Let's do this one more time. We've got Pulse and PulseX, so this got a decent amount on this wallet, so it should work this time. 10,000. We're going to provide liquidity again. And how much I got now? A million. Let's do 100,000. Have we got enough? 446. I don't have enough PulseX, so 44. Let's do that. Enable. Let's do this one more time. So we're going to provide liquidity again on a different wallet. It's asking me to spend your cap. I'm going to just go to max. and set next, and then approve the spend. So it's going to approve. So the first step there, provide liquidity. Yeah, it's probably best not to use only 2 pulse. If you've got 2 pulse in the fraction of PulseX, maybe that's an issue. There we are. So that's cool. That's successful. And I don't know if we can see this on the blockchain yet. It really is the indexing. Yeah, it's the indexing. Must be the issue there. So that should fix itself hopefully in the next day or two. Let's supply that. So we're going to supply. We've approved it. Now we can confirm. So this is what we wanted to get. So nice one there from Billy X. Good idea to get me to retry it. I was going to do that, but I was just like, am I going to do it? I'm not sure. So anyway, we've got PulseX pool tokens. These are the ownership tokens. And you get these ownership tokens to reflect the position that you're putting into the liquidity pool. So we're depositing 10,000 pulse here and 44,600 PulseX. And at the share of the pool is 0.0000204. So a real small amount of the pool. So there's quite a bit of stuff in there now, which is kind of cool. We'll click confirm. It's going to pop up a ticket, and it's just going to get us to confirm our liquidity provision. We got add PLP to the Metamask, so this didn't come up before, so there's obviously an issue there, and thanks for Billy X for pointing that out. So we're going to click add there. That's what I was expecting on the last wallet, on the other wallet, but I think it's just because I had 2 smaller numbers. We're going to click add token. We're going to close that down, and you can see we've had that approved on the blockchain. And now we're going to go to a wallet and go to assets, and we should see the PLP token there. So that's our ownership token there. It was on the my other wallet that I've been using, 211,022 PLP. These are the ownership tokens. We can take these now and we can put them in the farm. So we can go to the farm and click on earn, and then farms, and we can earn not only the 0.22% fees on the liquidity, but we can also earn the incentive token as well on top of that, which is pretty cool, using our LP ownership tokens, which is pretty nice. But however, I can't do it on here because I've already done it. So let's have a look here, see whether we can do enable, see whether this is work. Okay, so cool. So it's saying enable. It's picking up the LP tokens, and it says that I can. It's asking me to spend those. So I'm going to spend those and approve. And so that's submitted, and we're going to see how we go. Getting there. Harvest is withdrawal. Okay, so harvest is withdrawal. They've changed it a little bit here. That's why you pick it out there. It's a bit weird, but hey, I preferred the old approach that they had, which was a withdrawal. I just got used to doing that 500 times. So there we are. Yeah, was it? You can't change a horse to water or something. So that is kind of cool. So those have gone out, have they? Let's see, have they gone out? Not quite yet, because we haven't put them in yet, have we? All right, so cool. That's showing up here. So we've enabled it, and of course PLSX staked. Very, very cool. So we've got 3,029 staked there as well. So what's that cool? We've got the plus sign. We can actually add to that. So that's how much we've got already. I put in that yesterday, 3,029. We're going to add to that. We've got a balance of 21,122 that we've got because we topped up. We're going to add those, click max, and we're going to click confirm, which is pretty cool. So let's click confirm, and we're going to have to pay a little price there, 0.00075, which is pretty nice. I'm going to close out of that. So transaction submitted. So this should theoretically update. So this should deduct, this one here should deduct. So look at the activity. The deposit is in process, so we're waiting for that LP to be added into the yield, the yield farming. So we'll process that. That's gone, and therefore our PLP has been taken out. So that's cool, and that's now gone into our PulseX. So that's in here now. So yeah, they've changed the buttons around. So that button used to have the withdraw and enable, but now apparently you just do it with the harvest here with the incentive. So that's kind of cool. Now when I deposited, of course, when I deposited, we had 0.006 incentives in there. And that there pool, once I deposited stuff, that already paid me out the earnings that we had accrued so far. So it's been paid out at this stage. So that's kind of cool there. Now, this still doesn't have the button for withdrawal though, because I can still harvest my incentive tokens, but it still doesn't have the withdrawal. So it's a little bit weird on that one. Maybe you have to enable that again, and that will be able to pull it out. Let's have a look here. It doesn't have anything on that. Right, that's submitted. Let's see what it does now. It's going to be interesting. This is this. I haven't done this before, so we're doing it live. Yes, that's what I was going to do. So yeah, Billy X is saying that's exactly what I'm doing right now. Is great. Make sure it works. Thanks, Superman. Click the enable, then subtract button. Yeah, that's what I was going to do. So that's kind of cool. I'm just hoping that it pops up there, but maybe it's because you need you need some LP in your wallet. This does seem to be an issue for me. That should be the plus and minus sign. So I'm not sure. Let's go back to there. That is, I still think that's an issue, eh? I think they've tried to be clever here, but I think the old system was probably even though that was they need to have that the negative. It's almost like I have to add LP back in again for it to register before I can take it out. So I think there is an issue here, and maybe the team will have to work on that. I'm not sure if they've that's been identified, but that definitely seems weird to me. All right, so in any case, you normally have to push the minus button and pull it out, but I'd probably have to add more liquidity to do that. So I'd probably have to go to liquidity there. See how those LP tokens, I cannot see them now. So when I go back to liquidity, I can't see the LP position because I've put those tokens that I could see in the liquidity inside the farms there. So that's the case. Anyway, we'll come back to that. We're going to go to the pools. This is the one-sided staking pools. Everyone's excited about this. This is the chance of having third-party projects airdropped tokens to people, and they just put their tokens in and they get free airdrops. They're probably going to go pretty quickly if they do happen. I'm not expecting these out any time early. These may be something that appear later on. We will see what happens there. And not sure we'll get any of the incentive tokens allocated to this either. Kind of seems counterproductive. So yeah, we'll see. Probably third parties. Now, obviously, we don't have things on here. We don't have limit orders. Limit orders we had under the proof of work. We don't have the DAO and stuff like that showing up here, where you have your whole PulseX. You can make vote for proposals. You can put proposals up and vote for those. Maybe those are one-sided staking pool proposals or enhancements to the DEX. So there's lots of different things that could happen there. So that's not toggled on. That's probably going to come a bit later. So that's cool too. All right, so as we can see, we haven't got, we're still waiting for the bridge. Once we have this bridge open, we'll be able to do trading on the Referral Test Network. So it's going to be pretty important, and I'll be able to access that too. So let's have a little look here. Yeah, so what happens is this is going to ask me to switch back to the old proof of work blockchain. And even then, I think some of it's not hooked up properly as well. So even if we switch over to the old testnet, it's going to still have some issues in my view. Yeah, so I cannot fetch token details. So let's switch that back, and it's still not picking up testnet v3 yet. Yeah, so I think that's still to come. As Richard said, they'll turn the bridge on to another Ethereum testnet maybe tomorrow, so that the fake stablecoin's going to be bridged in. That will allow the dollar values to show in the PulseX testnet info site. So if we go to that last page on the info site, we can see this is where all the headline numbers are. So we've got the pools, and we've got the tokens, and you can see that they're all showing zero value at the moment in US dollar terms. And essentially, it seems to be because of the bridge, which is the final stage, right? So PulseChain will launch, the admin bot will run, PulseX liquidity pools will be set up based on the wrapped ETH pairs that got harvested, the other DEXs. People will get their copies of the on the PulseChain of the ERC20s and ERC721s as PRCs 20s and PRC 721s. PRC 20s, people will be able to set up custom ratios in the custom liquidity pools in the PulseX and ratio trade as well, tokens also. And then of course, then we'll have the official bridge open 1 or 2 days later, probably just similar to as we've got it now. And of course, then of course have stable coins come through wrapped pairs, and of course flood through the DEXs, the US dollar. That's kind of the logic there. That seems to be playing out. So that's what we're looking forward to. We may have to cover this tomorrow when the bridge opens. So this last bit was always a question mark. We would have been lucky if it had occurred during the live stream. So when it does occur, probably tomorrow, during my live stream tomorrow, we'll cover that then. And hopefully that's the bridge is open, and we get those US dollar pairs flooding through. But it's probably not too far off the process that we expect to happen for mainnet when it happens as well. All right, so we've got a few comments in there. How are we up to? An hour and 53. I mean, it was a bit longer than I thought, but we're doing pretty well here. Hopefully it's been instructive to people. We've got a few little issues there, I think, around on the PulseX, just around the yield farming withdrawals. I still think there's a bit of issue there. I'm pretty sure I've enabled that, I've harvested that. Now I can provide liquidity, and that would also pull in. So I might provide a little bit more liquidity. Let's test this theory. This is me stepping out of bounds now, but let's do that. Billy X, have you had any trouble? Have you been able to withdraw in the same situations? Have you had the same experience as what I've just showed? Let me know. That'd be useful. I'm going to confirm that we're going to top up our LP position, provide some more liquidity, and confirm that. Cool. So cool. Let me jump over there. So we're waiting for that to populate. So that's currently active. We're just updating, adding extra liquidity. You can see the title there, add liquidity ETH. So we're doing that, and you can jump on that, click on that, and it will give you the details. And of course, you can go to the blockchain as well, although the blockchain is still indexing. So it's going to take a little while there for that to show up. We've got those LP tokens have come into our, we've provided liquidity. So the Pulse and the PulseX have been deducted, put in liquidity pools, and in return, we've got the ownership tokens, another 21,143. So that's kind of cool. Let's go back to PulseX. We're trying to do a little workaround here. We're going to go to the farms. We're going to click enable, and this time it should read the fact that we have PLP tokens. Yes, it does. It reads that. We've got 21,143. We're going to go next, and we're going to approve that. And we're trying to do a bit of workaround here. Let's see if it works. We're trying to get them to populate, to pop up a ticket here. So yeah, hopefully someone will let them know. Let's see what the comments are on this one. So it is a testnet, remember, so we are trying to test it a little bit. Let's see here. Brennan says you're forgiven, Superman. Hey, thanks, appreciate that. I can't remember what I'm forgiven for, but was it something maybe because I used my double wallets or something like that. Let me jump through that. Elias Benny says the sandwich bots, trading bots are so annoying. They are indeed. I've seen some terrible things happen for that. All right, so we got that approved. Now we've got this up. We've got this up now. So why should we have this? Something's not right in the process here. We should not. This should not be an issue, right? So I can't see anything I'm missing out. I'm doing wrong. So because sometimes it's user error, right? Sometimes it is. PLSX LP. Now it says obviously I can add to this. I can go plus and add my new stuff in. Confirm and add it to the top. But if I do that, I'm going to go back to the enabled ticket. So let's see, I've got 24,151 in at the moment. Can I withdraw those? Yes, I can. But it shouldn't do it like this, right? It's me adding another P of liquidity just to pick up those buttons. So that seems to be an issue for me. So if any PulseX devs are looking at the moment, this is an issue. And I don't believe that it's user error. And of course, confirm that. Billy X, I don't know if Billy X has said whether he's had experience. Or Brennan, I don't know if Brennan, you've done it either. Got to add PLP when you create the LP pair. Done that, so cool. Always bringing the alpha, trying to. And of course, what else there? Let's jump into this. Liza Benny says, thank you for doing these live tests. You're welcome. Billy X is great at making sure it works. Thanks, Superman. Click the enable subtract, which I've done that. Going to do it again now. The no value has given some people insight into ratio trading. That's true. I was able to yesterday. Are you able to withdraw with the minus button without any enable button? Is that right? That's interesting. If you have Hex on ETH network, by switching to, if you have Hex on by switching to PulseChain is considered PHEX. No, you're gonna have ETH is going to be wrapped ETH, so it's going to be probably EHEX. I can't remember the ticker that was on the bridge, but we'll talk about that tomorrow, Nicholas. So stay tuned for tomorrow when the bridge is open. What else there? It may be called PETH on PulseChain. Actually, I think they used the other. They're switching around between ETH and PETH for the ETH wrapped ETH that was coming over the bridge. So we'll check hopefully tomorrow. It only took one enable as well. Okay, so I don't know why I'm having an issue with that. So we'll see whether that fixes itself tomorrow. J-Pon says, thanks, Superman. You're welcome. Okay, tomorrow it is indeed. We'll see. So anyway, that is it. So let's we will max that out. We're going to withdraw our LP, and that seems to work this way. But it shouldn't actually require me to add more liquidity to pull up the minus plus button. So we'll check that, double check that tomorrow's live stream. But that is where we're at the moment. So let's click that. That should pull out our LP, and we should end up with quite a bit of LP in here. So let's go to the activity. We're withdrawing. See, we've got the new ticker. We haven't had this before. It's always been add liquidity, approve PLP spend, and deposits. But now we've got withdraw. We can click on that too. Have a look on the blockchain as well. So that's cool. And what does it do? It gives us all the PLP. So we've got all the PLP out now. And of course, if we go over back in there, so we've got nothing earning on the liquidity farm now. It's all gone. See, it's all shut. Your earnings have also been harvested as well. So we get, not only do we get the LP tokens out, our ownership tokens of our liquidity, but we also get paid the incentive token that we've earned so far as well. So we're exited completely out of farming. We go back to liquidity. We should see all our LP. So there we are. It's because it's back in our wallet. The DEX can see our LP. It's now showing our PulseX liquidity position. We click on that, and it tells us how much PulseX and how much Pulse we put in there, and the share of the pool. And then we can remove that too. So we can get back right out of where we went to, and we can click 25%. Maybe we only take part of it out. Maybe we want to take it all. And of course, it's going to give us all of what we receive back. Now, there will be some permanent loss. There'll be some ratio change. Could be slightly different. Hasn't been that long, but of course, it's not much liquidity there, so that will change also. That's a very important point to remember. And you can see all the percentage of pool we're taking out, everything else. So pretty neat. So it won't be exactly the same as we put in. So yep. Now it's asking a signature request to sign, but it won't let me sign it, which is interesting. Why won't it let me sign that? There. Let's have a look. No, it's not letting me sign. That's weird. Oh, there we are. Okay, so I have to click the down button. So if there's a down arrow button, click the down arrow button and then sign. And of course, that will enable you to withdraw your liquidity. And then you can click remove. It's going to give you will receive this amount of Pulse and PulseX. And of course, you get the any revenue that got out there. And of course, subject to permanent loss as well. So your fees that you earned plus any permanent loss differences. It's going to cost you a little bit of ETH. A little bit of Pulse. Click close. And it's going to put back the Pulse that you had in your wallets. So we're going to get our Pulse and our PulseX back. It's just removing liquidity ETH with the permanent. And of course, you can click on that and see that on the blockchain also. And that is processing. This is our final step, pretty much. We're almost there. Can you believe it? It's our journey together. All right, so there we are. Bam. So the LP is gone now. The PLP is gone out. I've redeemed it for the Pulse and PulseX that was in there, and it's just gone back into my wallet, which is nice. And now I can go buy my Lamborghini. You got it. That's right. So that is it, folks. That's the end of our, see, a confirmation of that. It's pretty neat. That is the end. And of course, if you go back to liquidity, we've got no liquidity there anymore. That is it, folks. We've done it and dusted. I think the only issue that I see is the enable button here, but maybe that doesn't always appear for everybody. But so far, every time I've been there has been an issue there to get the minus and plus button, the add and remove. But that is pretty much it. It is a test net, so we'll see how we go. All right, so I hope you guys have enjoyed that. All the links in the video description. We've what, 2 hours live show for that. Isn't that awesome? Pretty neat. And I hope that's been helpful to you. We've covered everything. We've covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 topics. That's a beginner's guide to PulseChain Testnet v3. And of course, it is a testnet. We must remember that. It is based on the biggest airdrop in crypto history, forked over from Ethereum. Is based on the 26th of January block. So if you had assets at the time, they would be showing up. Plus, if you did the PulseChain or PulseX sacrifice, that sacrifice should show up also. Pretty cool there. So we covered the official sites. We covered, which is the PulseChain and PulseX. We covered how to add a PulseChain to your wallets in 3 different ways, through the block scout explorer at the bottom. We did that, which is pretty cool. Let me go way off the page there. And we did the block explorers, which is this one here. And of course, the beacon chain. So we've got the block scout and the beacon chain. We covered the sacrifices as well for PulseChain and PulseX. We covered all that and how to find them on the block explorer. By pasting your address in there, we did that. And of course, you can use the PulseChain sacrifice checker to correlate that. We went through the block height fork as well. So we saw the block height fork date, which is the 26th of January, and it's block 16492699. So if you had assets on Ethereum, those are the ones that got copied over. and of course we covered the Faucet, which was pretty cool. Everyone loves the Faucet. That will give you 10 pulsed. If you've got none, then that's a good way of getting it. And we covered staking as a validator, so we covered all that on staking, the staking launchpad. We covered all that. PulseX, we covered as much as we could. There are a few features not here yet, the limit orders, the DAO, and what else is not there? I think that's it, I think, for the main bits. And of course, we're waiting for the bridge to come over. And of course, we covered the bridge. The bridge here, we're waiting for that to be operated. That's the last stage. And once we do that, we'll be able to transfer stable coins over. And of course, that should flood through PulseX, and we'll get US dollar prices showing up. So hopefully by tomorrow, we'll have that last step come in, and then we're all done and dusted. So pretty cool. And of course, we went through all the trading and liquidity provision and everything else on PulseX. So that's the full run there. A beginner's guide to PulseChain Testnet V3. I think we can finish now. 2 hours and 4 minutes. Good time to finish. Let's say goodbye to everybody on the way out. Let's see what we're up to here. Got 43 people in the house. Nice to see everybody. Superman, wouldn't it be wrapped hex sending from ETH to PRs? Yes, so there'll be the bridge, and so people will be using testnet though. We won't be using the real Ethereum network. And of course, you'll have assets on that chain. They'll get locked in place, and then on the other side, you'll get a wrapped ETH version, a synthetic version of that token of Hex from the ETH chain over to PulseChain. But we'll be using the Rinkeby test network to do that. And of course, you're playing around with synthetics on the other chain. That's what the wrapped version is. So that's my understanding. Yep. I think it was PHEX that they were calling it, or EHEX, one of those two. Just can't remember which one. I know it was the opposite of what was on the written on the website. We can actually see. Let me just let's go to the bridge and just swap over the chain. I think we can. Excuse me. Have a quick look at that. I'm pretty sure I've got that on here. It should be able to show us the ticker, hopefully. Cancel. Now I'm not sure if that shows us. You can't fetch the tokens though, the token details. So that's not going to help for us. Thought we might be able to see that there, but no. Transactions, that was going to show up in here. Let's have a quick look. I'm trying to cheat here now. Let's see if it works. It's not bringing up the token fetches, so yeah, I don't know if that's going to work. So that may not work there. So I thought I might be able to show you that, what the actual naming convention. I just can't remember it offhand, but it was something like that. Oh, KD just gifted big time. Big gifting there from KD. Big shout out. Nice one. So KD just gifted 10 Hex Token channel memberships. Unbelievable. What a super. So, who's got those? Who's got them? Let me have a look here. KD, nice one, KD. KD's one of our awesome moderators in the chat there. Big shout out to KD. Billy X got one. Machiavelli got one. Well done to you. Charles Stone got a membership. Lies beneath. Vinrix as well. Hey, good to see you, Vinrix. Stevie D got one. Dark Matter Studio, good to see you too, John. Also got one. Trump, Pulse Trump got one, and Infitelitelman, which is one of the artist names to say in the community. You got one too. Congratulations, KD, you legend. You're a legend. Very, very nice. So congratulations to you. Now, if you want to become a member of the channel, of course, hit the join button. We've got PulseSkins, Hexskins, Rich Heart Club. Just a really cool way to support the channel. Really is neat. All right. That made me jump ahead of where I was. So let's just wrap up here. I've got a few more minutes, so we're all right. There we are, Lion Wings there with the strong arm like that. Japon says, later everybody. Good to see you, Japon. And we'll catch you next time. Let's jump through some of these. Billy X says, thanks, Superman. Lambo crosses bridge tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully that's going to be the case. And thanks for your insights there, Billy X, on those. Brizology in the house. Nice to see you. Very nice. Good to see you, Briz. Take care all, says Lies Beneath, 100%. Lion Wings, thank you. You're welcome, Lion. And who else there? Superman equals one Superman. Block the imposter DMs. Yeah. Yeah, so on Discord, we occasionally get some fake Supermans in, but I tend to ban them very quickly. My hashtag is 9055, so just remember that. Look very carefully there. We do ban them, though. Hit the likes, says Russ. Definitely smash the likes. Joshua Hill, thanks for the update. You're welcome. It was EHEX. Yeah, so that's, yeah, I said it was EHEX, didn't I? Yeah. A PHEX was also a possibility, but I'm pretty sure it was EHEX. So it's cool. Well done, Billy X. Yeah, got all those lovely memberships offered out, so big shout out. Now with the memberships you can use emojis in the chat, and of course you get a special name and the colored name and private discourse in the discourse if you want, or chat group. Let us know. What else there? Jumping through those, wrapping up the comments. What a Chad, says Billy X. What a Chad. Russ says, I'm a dinosaur. Nice. I'm not sure what I just did there, but that's the way it goes. Hey, I watched The Magnificent Seven yesterday. If you haven't seen that movie, classic. It really is a really good movie. Thanks everyone for the incredible information on the PulseChain Testnet V3. Woohoo! Let's go. Nice one. Yeah, absolutely. And Astro says nice too. All right. Take care, everybody. That's an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to grab some dinner. Hope you guys enjoy yourself. And yeah, with 10 topics, that was pretty good for beginners there. We'll obviously try and cover the bridge and PulseX a bit more when the rest of it comes out. Very, very nice. Let's see here. Let's jump over here. Let's jump over into there and add that in. Oh, that's the wrong one. I don't want to do that. Get rid of that. All right. Cool. All right. Take care, everybody. Don't forget subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And I will catch you guys on the other side tomorrow for the standard live stream. Epic, epic, epic. We're having a lot of fun, man. PulseChain Testnet V3 is out. Get excited. Richard's saying is a warning. People, mainnet is coming sooner than later. And of course, once they iron out all the little things on testnet, I'm sure it's going to be fun. I'm still expecting, a month or two at least for the testnet, and they'll iron things out. It's going to be fun. But looking forward to the bridge tomorrow, hopefully. If not tonight, it'll be fun. All right, take care. Bye for now.